All right.
Yeah, I think a lot of my notes as well just kind of like piled on top of each other.
No, it totally did.
Did not keep them out of
It was
sessions.
just a mesh of fucking. Oh, this seems important. This seems important. This seems important.
I think I mostly wrote down characters' names and general plot points.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I am not the Marisha of the group, so.
But yeah, this is Tyranny of Dragons. I guess wrap up thing for the whole entire campaign.
All the shenanigans.
All the shenanigans. All
We're
the
recording now?
yeah, recording that. Going all the way back to the beginning. The beginning of Kenny's suffering.
My pain, my suffering.
Where it all started.
I wish I would have saved that 20 for the recording.
Yeah. Welcome back. Rolls a natural 20.
He's lying, audience. He never rolled it.
He never rolled it. We
But it's right there on the right.
I'm just gonna scroll up.
Don't put the camera towards it.
That's okay. I got them back in the next module.
By immediately downing us. Level 1.
Spoiler alert.
Oh my god. But this is going to be spoilers for Tyranny of Dragons, Hoard of the Dragon Queen, all that stuff. But yeah, let's start by introducing characters and players. I'll go ahead and go first just to set it up. But my name's Frank, also known as TheOniMask, and I played Penumbra, a half Tabaxi rogue.
It was half the whole time?
Yeah. I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna go to your birthday party and hurt you.
Did you eat his Christmas butters?
Who wants to go next?
So for the audience, if this is your first time watching, we are a bunch of idiots.
Sorry. Again, just trying to finish up food.
No, it's all good.
My name is Anthonie. I played Umbra, who quickly changed her identity to Fletch, who eventually changed her name to her actual name, Alashiana de Tyranny, who is a Mark of Shadows elf. She was a Genie Warlock and a Rune Knight fighter, but also not really.
You go next, Reggie.
Do I have to?
You're one of the original ones. The characters are here.
I'm Reggie. I played Hanu, a very scared little Tortle.
What was your class?
Huh?
What was your class? Warlock. Actually, that's a good question. What was your like patron class, or like what was your Warlock like subclass thing?
The Archfey.
Oh, okay. I think I remember a long ass time ago, but in this moment I'm like, fuck, what was his patron? As for the next two, they show up later, like halfway through the campaign. But if you guys want to introduce yourselves, not all at once.
I was waiting for you.
No, I'm Zane. I played Saevel Ilmar, a elven wizard, book extraordinaire.
Ooh.
My name is Evan. I was also in the later half of the session. I played Renford Villeppo, a half-elf paladin, theater kid sent on a quest to destroy evil.
I guess another way to start is character concepts and like how you guys came up with your characters.
We have two characters that didn't get introduced yet.
You know what? They're not here to defend them. Unfortunately, two of the players couldn't make it, or they're busy, or haven't been in this Discord for a while. So, but yeah, for the players who played Ilmeg, I believe it was a Life Cleric Dwarf, and Zamrakar, Barbarian Minotaur. I believe a Spirit Guardian, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's Path of the Ancestors, I think is what's technically called.
Yeah.
Ancestors, yes.
But yeah, if anyone wants to talk about like how they came up with their character in the first place, and first thoughts of like what they thought their character was going to be.
All right, well, I'll go first.
Oh my God.
I'm DM. I'm God. You know.
Go down the line of every character
Go do it. Go now.
as they appear.
As they appear.
Like, can you introduce himself too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Kenny. I was the DM for this campaign. I pulled everyone into this.
No, just kidding. Go ahead. Sorry.
But I'm the one who pulled in all these crazy idiots into the game.
Yeah. All right.
The person that was bullied.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then took his revenge.
Took his revenge by picking a module that actually kills the players. If you want to see Kenny kill us or try to kill us or put us unconscious constantly, watch Abyss. But who wants to talk about their character?
You're not going to start off? You lead in this for
Okay. So I guess for Penumbra, it's funny because like most of my character ideas come from like I want to play this certain character in D&D basically. So I kind of got like one of my favorite games is Arknights, and one of the characters. What? No, it's not like I talk about it constantly and want you guys to play so I can teach you guys and spend time with you or anything. Nope. But
Yeah.
So there's a character in the game called Shorts, which is she uses a crossbow, and one of her abilities is just like whatever is in front of her just gets annihilated by a single arrow. Like probably one of the high damage characters in the game. So my thought for a rogue character was long range rogue that was literally like 50 cal sniper rifle and just like in one shot obliterate whatever's in front of her. Some of that was like also me being too stubborn with it because there was even like at higher levels I was like I know Anthonie wanted me, he's like, hey, you should go fighter some levels, get to 5 and do multi-attack, and I'm like, no. She needs to one shot, one kill at all costs. But yeah, that was like in gameplay, that was kind of like what I imagined the character being. It was just that long range sniper that like blew the head off of something, in one shot. As for the character itself, backstory wise, I obviously just went with the rogue archetype of parents are dead, grew up on the streets, made money by like doing assassinations and stuff like that, and when her parents were killed, I also kind of wrote it in that it was the cult of the dragon that did it, and unknown to Penumbra, a certain individual helped her, and it was just it was a half elf character named Talus, and basically saved her life. So Talus was her best friend growing up and things like that, and then eventually she found out Talus vanished or was taken by the cult. So that's what started her on her adventure to, find Talus and find individuals that can help her, or end up running into individuals that more or less had a similar goal. Originally, what's funny is that I had that idea of like an elf friend that rescued her, but didn't have a name to her. It was just whatever character that saved her. And then the module's like, hey, do you want to have like certain backgrounds or bonds or the bonds? And so, me personally, I read through all of these, and picked the one that was like more close to my character's backstory. And I'm trying to find. Yep, number 5. You heard rumors that your close friend, or your close childhood friend, a half elf named Talus, has been kidnapped by a strange group of dragon cultists. Your investigation to the cult has led you to the town of Greenest. You must save her. And I was like, perfect. I picked that one. And that kind of started Penumbra's journey and stuff like that. But yeah.
Nice,
Alright.
nice.
Who wants to go next?
I can go because I know Reggie's going to be not wanting to go.
I feel like we could do the same order each time. Might have it a bit more streamlined.
That works.
Nah.
Okay. I'll shut the fuck up. Never mind.
Well, my character concept and everything, I'm like, I want to try something a little bit different. And I wanted to play an arcane archer without, sucking ass. Am I allowed to? What type of
yeah. No, yeah. It's what you could say, whatever.
Okay.
As long as it's not too much.
Archers suck.
Yeah, no.
I wasn't trying to completely change, the class or, do any like homebrew, to like, switch it around. Not an attack. But I played, D&D for quite some time, and I DM stuff, and I'm like, I'm gonna kind of be creative in a different type of way, and I'm gonna, make something happen. So I wanted to play an arcane archer, and I'm like, okay, I can get a little bit of warlock, but the rune knight seemed fantastic. And looking into the rune knight and actually seeing what the runes do just passively, I'm like, okay, yeah, she is an assassin. I mean, I can be, a rogue, like this. But I'm like, yeah, she's, a good person and stuff. She may have assassination contracts, but she's never going to kill anyone. Because yeah, she's going to be different. She's not going to be this dark and edgy D&D character. I wrote out, a bunch of family members and her father and mother, how she always got along and how she always played with like her little brothers and her siblings and just loved life, and then can kill my family.
Classic.
This
You're gonna
all
be dark and edgy, you're gonna like it.
Basically.
Yeah, not necessarily kidding and stuff, but I rolled. I think you still have that little backgrounds up.
Yeah,
but
I
I rolled
have it
a
up.
9.
I actually have it highlighted on which one you got.
Yeah, I rolled the 9, and everyone died. So just kind of kept rolling with it. I'm like, all right, yeah. Now she's actually, I kind of kept that same background, and I'm like, okay, she only kills cult members, and went with that. So then she was in MOs and stuff because they thought she was dead. And I had this little backstory for her, so I was like, okay, let's keep rolling with it. And she keeps changing her names, and I always had her name Alastriana de Tyranny. Little bit of inspiration from the Eberron books. But I got to the point of, I'm like, okay, what kind of moniker is she going to have right now? And I'm like, Umbra. And unfortunately, we got here and, there was another Umbra around. And I'm like, man, it's going to get confusing real quick.
Yep.
And me being Anthonie and used to this in IRL, type stuff, like, having a bunch of friends named Anthonie, I'm like, all right, let's just do something else. And she started going by Fletch, but the character kind of always in the snowballing, because I started off with that simple idea. It was like, okay, I want to make an arcane archer without sucking like an arcane archer, and build up from there. And even the whole Genie Warlock portion of it, Kenny was like, you got to keep track of your ammo. And I'm like, okay. And I saw the Genie Warlock and all that shenanigans from Genie Warlock started. From seeing that I get a vessel. And I'm like, yep, I'm storing all my ammo, arrows in there. And because I won't be able to keep track of it. I actually did a pretty good job keeping track of it.
There was like a macro that like every time you use the attack, like with the arrows or with the longbow, it would actually subtract from the thing. But
Kenny loaded that up to my sheet and stuff. But,
the same for mine because I also had to keep track of ammo.
But I was just an archer, and I didn't want to run out of ammo for like long fights or dungeon crawls. And that's also why I started, wearing like 3 quivers into like combat. One on each hip and then one on the back. So, but yeah, that's how Fletch was born, and thought about.
I guess real fast because like going back to your character coming in as Penumbra or Umbra. It's one thing I forgot to mention in my character thing was that my character was a mute. So like when her parents died and whoever killed her parents also slit Penumbra's throat, that's how she lost her voice. And when they saved her and stuff like that. So when coming into this campaign and getting introduced to the other characters and me thinking, oh, this is a great name for this character. I totally love this. My character's name is Penumbra. Fuck! And then Ilme gets introduced. My character doesn't talk. Fuck! Like, you gotta be shitting me. Well, one of us is gonna have to change. I'm glad. Thank you for changing it to Fletch. I mean, like, I was totally ready to like, okay, I'm gonna go by Penumbra, and you could go by Umbra or something. I was totally ready for it. Or I was also gonna change it to like Eclipse because Penumbra's full name is Penumbra of the Eclipse. But I was like, yeah, I could change it to Eclipse if you want to keep Umbra. But no, yeah. That was a funny meeting the characters and going, man, I am unoriginal apparently.
Let Saevel walk out.
Yeah. But Reggie, would you like to talk about your character concept?
Well, first, going back to Frank stealing stuff from other characters.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
When we were first starting, I was looking through the backgrounds, right?
Oh, and
know! And
I didn't know this.
Oh, yeah, I never brought it up.
That's amazing.
Like, I did not... I didn't think most of them fit, like, the character I had in mind for Hanu.
Yeah.
Except for the one that you chose.
Oh my god.
And I was like, okay, I'll go with this one. And then Frank's like, oh, this is my background. And I'm like, oh, this mother.
You know what's funny about that is that would have been amazing if we had I'm here to save my friend. You know Talus? that would have been a fantastic bonding moment. I was like, how do you know her? What did she do? Like just immediate best friends, or like you're friends with my best friend. Well, let's save her.
What is this cat person waving their hands at me for? What is going on?
That's a missed opportunity, I see, from my point of view.
That's how we ended up with 3 tieflings.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Hey, like, not this time, Frank.
I am not changing. Yeah, no, I
rolled the dice to pick the race for that time. And that was,
oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah, it still worked out.
Yeah, again, watch Abyss and you'll see 3 tieflings and
or 4.
Or 4, yeah.
3.5.
3 tieflings and an adopted tiefling. But how about the rest of the? I guess because that's the background. How about the?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Hanu wasn't as fleshed out as like your guys' characters, but like I wanted to play a character that was like pretty much scared of everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have a race like chosen for it. I was looking through, and then like you know, a Tortle has like its own defense. That's perfect. Just hide in it.
No, it's the perfect like coward character basically. And honestly, I think you did like I didn't necessarily come in with like huge backstory stuff where it's just like it was just dead parents, save friend. That was kind of like the extent of Penumbra. So
I feel
like I mean scare Tortle of the world and
No, yeah, and then like the more I thought about it, the more I started liking the idea of from Fate Zero, basically Waver and Ryder,
Oh,
their
yeah,
relationship.
yeah,
yeah.
with
Like,
a
that's
patron.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So
Oh, I
because
like
love
this
that.
little scaredy turtle who's like 4 feet, I think I said,
yeah,
scared of everything but being pushed by this like really powerful person.
well, you can do it. You can do it.
No, I can't.
King of Conqueror is just like aspiring at everything he did.
Yeah.
Like
That was
even for his. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that was also just fun for like seeing the patron help in situations of like just throwing Eldritch Blast and giving you the free advantage.
Smacking one back like
With
a tennis
a
ball.
tennis racket, just I'm like, what the fuck? He can curve the bullets on these things.
Like that one Eldritch Blast that went like around the tornado somehow.
Just circled back. I don't even remember where that tornado was, or like was that in the castle? The sky
Yeah, and the
castle.
floating thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, we'll probably get to that when we when we get to that
Yeah.
chapter. But yeah,
Don't skim stuff. Yeah, I get it.
yeah. But because
So
yeah,
like even for
I think that's slowly coming back to me, to be honest.
so like even for his spells, I gave him like poison spray as in like maze, and then shocking grasp as
That's
like
right,
a taser.
taser.
I'm like, that's perfect. But no, yeah, he was just like scared of everything and being pushed by his patron. That was mostly what Hanu was.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until that sky thing where I didn't fully know where I wanted to go with him. Which we'll get to later, I guess.
Yeah.
To the ground.
And then like for because unfortunately Brawley's not here to talk about like his concept for Zamrakar, but I mean for Ilmeg it's just like reading the name if you just read it backwards. You
Wait, say that again?
if you read Ilmeg's name and then read it backwards, that's kind of like the
Inspiration for it.
the inspiration for it.
Oh.
I just saw the weeb comment.
Yeah, and he's apparently done that for other characters.
I mean, it was in my campaign, like when the first time I ran in between.
Oh, and
knows,
speaking of name, Hanu is Hawaiian for turtle.
Yeah.
Cute.
Hey.
Remember, Evan knows my druid I had in a different campaign. His name is Utarisan, and he was a Dampier. So, go ahead. Let's see. I do that same thing.
No.
God damn it. That's fraud,
It's funny to have like those type of names backwards. Actually, like that seems like a legit character name.
You're just sitting there the whole time, just giggling.
I honestly like
Don't
didn't
really
know.
notice.
Yeah.
I did not catch like the Gimli thing for like the longest time until either he told me or I just saw it one day and just like, or no, it was probably like when the first like time I noticed that he just switched the characters or the name backwards, and I'm like, did he do that for other characters? He looks at Ilmeg, son of a bitch. But yeah, how about for you, Evan?
Yeah, so I guess there's like two different things that kind of went into Renford becoming Renford. The first is that he was going to be in a different campaign originally that did not last long. But I was starting with the class like, well, I've never been a bard before, and I said that's cool. We also have another bard. Like, well, fuck, I want to be the only bard. So I kept the entertainer background and went with Paladin instead. and someone else still chose Paladin, but it was fine. I like the concept.
I'm not changing anymore.
Yeah,
People always
Alright.
stealing ideas.
I
you
know, right?
Exactly, yeah. There's nothing new under the sun. As for the rest of it, like it was, I think I'd recently seen like the Footloose movie. So like the idea, like this kid who goes into town and like, there's no arts or performing, or there's no dancing in that town.
Mhm.
But for Renford, there is no like performing arts. Like, well, that's stupid. I'm gonna fight against that. So he gets like really into theater, and then then it gets to the tragic, edgy backstory. Everything goes to shit. He's like, now I'm gonna fight evil, and that's basically where he took off from there.
Renford is played by Kevin Bacon.
Well, yeah, that's where the name came from. Ren McCormick is the name of the protagonist, and he's Ren from Macor, the town.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, he's played by Kevin Bacon.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
How about you for you, Zane?
So, I'm a simple man.
A simple British man at heart.
Or Australian.
Yeah.
So, like, no, I'm saying Zane is a simple man. Like, you guys, like, got inspiration from a movie, or you had, like, an idea of what your character, like, mechanically wanted to do. For any character that I play, I come up with a subject, and I thought, okay, I want to play a librarian. And then I was like, all right, Kenny, how is this going to fit in? He was like, okay, well, this big council is going to bring you in, and you and Evan's character in, and I was like, okay, so then what if they'd need a reason to bring me in, right? So, like, what if he, like, did some stuff in the past, and this is sort of his like, redemption for some sort of failure? And I was like, but I guess I'd have to belong to somebody. And then that's when Kenny suggested to me the Order of the Scribes subclass. And and then we sort of workshopped that out. And he was like, okay, so what's your manifest mind, your patron gonna be? And he's like, is it like as someone from like the library of your past? And I was like, what if it's a literal book?
And that's where Butchie came from. Oh my god.
Beautiful.
All I remember from like when Kenny was talking, like just small messaging me and just like saying, oh, for Zane's character, he didn't reveal everything. Obviously, he was just like talking about like just making the character with you, and I just remember him like, oh, I'm gonna give him 2 subclasses, and I'm like, what? I'm like, all right.
Wait, so if one was the Order of the Scribes, what was the other subclass?
Divination.
Yeah, Divination.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I believe in Divination, that's when you can make bookie and just like have it floating around and do shit for you.
Opposite one. Making bookie was Order of
The
Scribes.
Scribes.
The
Oh,
Divination
gotcha.
is his important dice. That he would
Yeah,
use.
that's right. So okay, yeah. I don't know wizards. I'm never gonna touch that class with a 10-foot pole, man. I'm a simple man.
I had a lot of fun playing him, but it was a lot for my poor little ADHD real brain to
I mean,
and of course I had to make it more difficult right off the bat.
hey, come in as a level 8 character and learn this character on the spot and deal with 3 other assholes who have been playing their characters forever and can do like 100
Constantly
damage.
Fucking with you.
And who are constantly fucking with you.
I'm sorry.
We'll get to that. But yeah, to start off of like Kenny, if you want to like talk about like how you started us off in the campaign and why we're in a tavern.
So you all had to come travel towards Greenest for reasons of your own, either to search on a lead for the cult or trying to find someone that you've lost. So you've all were on your way to Greenest, and being that it's a long trip, you had to stop at this tavern to rest up before you went on to Greenest. That's when Brawley's character Zamrakar came in, pulling a car with this merchant who happened to be heading to Greenest, and offered you guys a job of essentially being guards for the remainder of the journey to Greenest.
Yeah, just escorting him to Greenest. And I guess for the three players, I guess what was your first impressions on the other players, other than, you know, shit, I'm not unoriginal, and for me anyways.
I mean, when I got started, when it first started, I think it was more of just kind of going with it, honestly.
No, yeah.
My first impression is this bastard took my name.
And my background.
Okay.
So then I had to
And
change it
Zamrakar's
up.
X.
And honestly, in the end, it made for a beautiful story for Fletch. But I was also still kind of bummed that my whole family was dead. But I was looking around and I was like, I'm gonna get these people to talk, because it was already starting to, you know, like, hey, I'm quiet mute. I'm a quiet mute. I'm a shy mute. I'm a man of not many words, and then Fletch.
And then yeah.
And then
you
the
like-
bottle at Hanu.
Yeah.
And then you had
Sure, through a whole
Zamrakar, who
bottle.
arrived and was just literally
Don't
carrying stuff in and out of the place, being
No,
the
yeah.
pack.
Yeah, no, he was
Back and
the man of action with few words.
So it was funny because I felt like Frank wanted to talk, but he's like, damn, I kind of painted myself in the corner, and I could like see that.
No, yeah.
And like, yeah, I was like, you know, maybe Reggie is like shy and stuff like that, and you know, maybe Brawley is, you know, whatever. I was like, whatever, I'm going to do the thing, and I'm gonna make that is my goal in life, is to make these players talk. So that was my first. That was my initial impression.
And I mean, that was great too. Like, we had fun with that.
No, yeah.
Mhm.
Like when you made Hanu the boss. And then as boss, he immediately makes someone else the boss.
That's how it happened. I always wondered how Zamrakar became the boss. Now I know.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, it's funny because we'll
So-
get to that, but like,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
I mean, we could totally talk about it, but no, yeah.
It was very
those-
short. We'll end up getting into it deeper. Very short.
Yeah.
We were like tactically planning stuff out. You know, Umbra and Fletch will go ahead and snipe people. We were kind of coming up with the plans, and then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I was like, hey, boss, and just literally just randomly just started going up to
Yeah. Other players.
Hanu, and
The
and
first
again,
one was Zamrakar.
no, I went up to Hanu.
No,
first.
it was Hanu first.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because I specifically, I'm like, you're going to talk, like, in my head, in my actual IRL head. I was like, I'm going to get Reggie to talk, but I'm going to do it in game and in character.
Yep.
And and that's what happened. I was like, you know, what's up, boss? And then he was like, oh, it's my first thing is boss. Zamrakar's boss. So,
It was
but yeah,
it was
Which
funny
is great.
for combat because yeah, we kind of like got into a groove of like how the group fought, and it was mostly like Penumbra and Fletch just like annihilating the first row of enemies, and then eventually like Zamrakar, Ilmeg, and Hanu coming up to clean up the rest. But I mean, like, I get, you know, me and Anthonie probably thought like, okay, that's probably not fun for these guys. So hey, let's have them come up with a plan now. And have them like, all right, how do you guys want to do this?
Mhm.
I mean, in our very first fight, Hanu was in his shell, like, for the first round.
Mhm.
Even before it started, he was in the shell.
And Zamrakar
And
being the
also
barbarian.
Shell.
Oh yeah.
Zamrakar being the barbarian always ran in.
Well, it was actually good that we went barbarian because like once we got to a certain level, he got that speed boost, so he didn't have that issue with like melee characters of like, you know, oh, they're gonna die by the time they get to me. So he would just like have that speed to get in and meet the fight before me and Fletch fucking wreck shop. But it's funny, for my first impressions, like one, I already kind of like knew Reggie, so from previous campaign that like me and Reggie are like OGs from Kenny's first campaign that he ever ran. So I more or less knew like Reggie, and then you also, like, it's funny, in that old campaign you were talking about the concept of Hanu. So, and then I believe it was like towards the end of it, because you were like, I want to play a scared Tortle, and I'm like, that sounds awesome. Also, like, it was funny because you were more or less in that old campaign, you were already like playing that, because though you were joking around most of the time of like you were playing
that I do remember.
The Dragonborn monk, and then shit happened, and you're like, well, bye guys, and then your token would just take the fuck off.
Or just jump through a window.
Yeah, it's just like, bust through a window. So it was like, I kind of already saw that like glimpse of Hanu from that old campaign. So I more or less was like, okay, this is the character that he actually gets to embody that. And really, like, this is how the character acts.
Beautiful.
As for like, I also played with Ilmeg's player before, and he's also in Zane's campaign. I told him about my concept, and I was pretty sure he was like going to be like a quiet character too, but I didn't know he was going to go full like not talk, and I'm like, son of a bitch. Yeah, it was kind of the same thing with Zamrakar too, or just like man of action, with few words. So it was like hard to gauge at that time. And then the moment Anthonie came in with Fletch and immediately talked to the barkeep, the merchant, I was like, thank God there's a face of the group. I was like, thank God there's somebody that's gonna be talking for the whole entire thing. And I you know, sorry for putting you in that position, especially considering your character was not a charisma character. But
well, she has some charisma.
She has some, but not like you know, persuade the pants off of people, and at least for the most part.
He wasn't supposed to be that type of character and stuff like that.
Which that bit us in the ass like later.
Like I went to just, hey, she is someone that is on a mission.
On a mission. Yep.
Not going out her way for anything else, to this straight revenge. Yeah.
So me as a player was like, thank God there's somebody that's going to be talking to this thing. And then as Penumbra, I was like, ooh, elf girl. My best friend's an elf. Obviously, I trust this person because she is also an elf. So,
and they became the best of friends.
Best of friends. I mean, it's funny because like,
oh my God, we're roommates.
It's funny because that kind of was a roommate thing later in a couple chapters, but
I forgot where. But I mean, I think I almost immediately like went up and started like petting her ears or something.
No, yeah, because like
she has a soft, like part of her for like. Not to call you an animal, but I mean, she, she does like animals and stuff. But that was kind of a part of the story I had, for her before.
Mm-hmm.
Omni-Man, she's like a pet to me.
Because I think, Fletch came up here first, and then the merchant guy was asking for like people who would look like that would be capable of escorting him. And me hearing like, we need to go to Green Nest, I was like, okay, perfect. I'll go up and, introduce myself. And at the time, no one else, like the way I would do sign language as the character was Thieves' Cant. But obviously no one else knew Thieves' Cant. So I just had like a notebook or just a book that I would write in and then, show it to somebody. And that's like, how I would communicate basically. And then that's like introduction to Penumbra or to Fletch, and like just literally showing her the book and stuff like that, and then Fletch like, can I pet your ears? Can I touch your ears or something? I'm just like, like literally, if your character probably wasn't an elf, Penumbra would not like, I don't know about that. But yeah, and then it was just like, I think your character was just pointing, like everyone else didn't necessarily jump up at the opportunity. And yeah, Fletch had to like go to Ilmeg and ask him, go to Hanu and ask him. It's like, hey, do you want to join and stuff like that.
And it was funny because out of character, I knew the players and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm gonna get them in, but in character, again, Fletch was on that mission, and she's like, okay, bullet sponge, distract.
What was I then, huh?
Stress relief.
Okay.
They petting cats. help with stress.
okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't that type of pet.
That's not what that's not what it sounded like. But
I just remember at this point, Hanu was just staring at Zamrakar because he was this huge thing that just walked
that's
in,
right.
like just keeping eyes on him.
Oh, it's so funny because like like the characters, like only two, like at the party currently, only like two of them were like standard, like what you would normally see in a fantasy setting of a dwarf and an elf, and then the other three were like a cat girl, a turtle, and a bull person or a minotaur. Okay. But so it was just like, it was funny, like when we had to do like talk situations or disguise ourselves, or it was very hard to hide the cat ears, the giant pale minotaur, because he specifically said that his the fur was white. And the 4-foot tortle that was always in the shell.
He was 4 feet. Oh, actually, no. I definitely probably knew that.
Yeah, he was always short.
Yeah, because I was probably seeing eye to eye. Like I always thought that, but I remember like Fletch was pretty short until the giant rooms. Yeah, until the giant rooms started kicking in.
I think 4 feet is like the smallest you can be and still be medium.
Still be medium height or whatever, yeah. But that leads to what happened next for chapter 1.
And we all died.
We all died because there was a blue dragon.
Campaign ended easily.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Hanu had a heart attack, so because he got scared.
I guess real fast is like, Kenny, what did you think of the characters, like first impressions of like the first 5, I guess?
I mean, like knowing some of you guys from the previous game and stuff, but like otherwise, like as we were just like kind of getting going, I don't really know if I really had much of an impression. I just kind of went with it.
Didn't expect us to be just fucking monsters. But yeah, if you want to lead us into like the first chapter, Kenny, of like if you remember what this chapter was about.
So as you guys kind of like left the inn, you went and were traveling with the caravan towards Greenest. So you guys traveled for several days, traveling down the road with winds lazily across the rolling grasslands of the green fields. As sun began to approach, you guys came up to the town of Greenest, just within a few short miles away. But instead of the pleasant, welcoming town that you all expected, you all saw columns of black smoke rising from burning buildings, and the sight of figures running to and from out of the buildings and as tiny dots in the distance. and then you see it above you, the dark wing-shaped form of a dragon flying over the city. And the town was being attacked by a dragon.
Yep.
And we immediately went into combat, right?
And a bunch of cultists. Not immediately, because I remember we were outside, or basically right up near the city, and we had the cart. And we left the cart behind, so we weren't like immediately into it. We definitely saw it from afar.
Okay.
I'll just open it up. And then we went into the city, and I remember like my character again, job done. She's like, "Fuck this!" Like, this is a little bit above my head right now. And Umbra, being that either chaotic good or that neutral good, she was like, "No, I want to save them," and she was like, giving her faces. And she's like, "I'm not going to fucking stick my neck out for these people." And I think you did a persuasion check, and I remember like thinking it's like Puss in Boots eyes. And you did real good on the persuasion. Plus, at the same time, slight metagame, like, okay, we got to get involved in this story. I'm not just gonna have my character just walk off. But, yeah. But already, kind of started role playing, and then she's like, "All right, well, we'll try this, but I can't say that we'll save everyone. Like, people are going to die tonight. Like,
and then
that's for certain."
And then we proceeded to save everyone.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing about D&D, where like, I don't know if my character would do this, but we kind of have to.
Yeah, it's just like that's the funny thing about this module is like it introduces you to an adult blue dragon. Like this is for Evan and Zane. Yeah, I convinced we convinced Kenny that we can start at level 2, because originally the module was like, hey, start at level 1, go on or whatever. So but I was like, man, do we want to go over that full grind? So I convinced Kenny to have us start at level 2, just so we could have like access to like level 2 shit. And I believe that was like, I'm assuming helpful for you, Anthony, considering you were multi-classing and you took level 1 Warlock, level 1 Fighter. So that was, super helpful. But yeah, it was still level 2, but yeah, it was the adult blue dragon that was flying above. Granted, like the module was like, with that, it was just pure cinematic. We saw there was the blue dragon in the sky. We never touched it or never saw it like it touched down, or it was just that looming thing in the sky, and we never really had to worry about it, to be honest.
There was a part in there that says that you can use the dragon to attack. It says that it would fly moving closer up to 25 feet to the town, laying waste to buildings and NPCs, and that it is highly recommended not to use it against players, as it is an instant kill.
It's instant death. Yeah, no. So I mean, like that would have been interesting. Of like, the like introducing a dragon to like this campaign and like putting that fear of God into the players of like, holy shit. And even like for me personally, I would have even showed the damage numbers of what that breath weapon did. And just that
still put the fear of God in players later on.
No, yeah.
Well, it had a thing in there, like each attack I was supposed to roll a D4 worth of NPC defenders being killed, and then D6 are injured.
Yeah. So yeah, it was like that. And then for Evan and Zane, that same blue dragon is the one that was at the labyrinth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's
why they were excited to kill it, because it haunted them right at the beginning.
That was from the beginning, and then that's why Cephas hated it, because that is the dragon that attacked his hometown, and this is his hometown greenest.
Oh.
So that's why Cephas had like, let's bring this thing down, guys.
And just to let you know, like it wasn't just a dragon attacking the town. It was the dragon
and the cultists and kobolds.
Right.
Yeah. So like the first thing we ran into, which is like at the bottom of the map, like southwest, like those little houses that are like across that river. That's where we had our first combat basically, and it was like a bunch of little kobolds that were attacking a family, And that's what Anthonie mentioned of like, it's like we can't save everybody, there's no point. And for Penumbra of like wanting,
not saying there was no point. Like you were definitely like, you're like, hey, I want to save people.
Yeah.
And then I was like, look, get it in your head. We're not going to save them all. Like people are going to die.
Yeah, so right when you guys entered town, you saw 5 humans dashing out between 2 buildings, and one was a limping man and 3 young children, and then there's a woman carrying a round shield and a broken spear. The woman was Lillian Swift and her husband, and she was her husband was near death, and she was fighting to protect her family against 7 kobolds when you guys arrived.
So then, like, I don't know remember how combat went, but I remember like one, because I think it only lasted like 2 rounds or something like that. Zamrakar was just happy to fight shit. And I remember for Penumbra, she like put herself between the family and the kobolds, and one kobold actually like threw a dagger at one of the family members that was between Penumbra and between both of them. And I asked Kenny, I was like, hey, can I use my reaction to take that hit? Because Penumbra's whole thing was considering no one was there for her family, like when they were attacked by cultists, basically, she would be there for others in that same situation. So she wasn't going to let like a family get murdered right in front of her eyes, because that's literally what happened to her. So, and then she took the hit and stuff like that, and I think that we just cleaned up the rest of the kobolds. But trying to remember what the next. I think we moved on to we decided to keep on going in.
So Lillian Swift said that they're evacuating people to the keep and to try to save as many people as you could on your way there. And when you did, you ran into another group of cultists and raiders attacking more individuals.
So the funny thing about because we're not gonna go over every single combat we ever did in this thing, because we would be here for days
forever.
I mean, that's
there's a lot of blood.
There's a lot of blood on our hands, and sometimes on the cultist hands.
Mention it was it was either this next combat or the combat after that. You witnessed a kobold when they're stealing the art and gold and stuff from the city. You witnessed one put it in a well, and inside the well you found that it was shoving things into this bag that seemed endless.
The funny thing about that is I think I rolled a perception or investigation, because I don't think the description was fully the kobold was putting stuff in there. From what my memory was, I could totally be wrong. But I remember there was a kobold doing something in that well. I'm gonna check it out, and I think I rolled stupid high for the investigation, and then found the 2 bags of treasure, and one of them being the bag of holding that we proceeded to use for the rest of the campaign. But it was just
if I remember right, Penumbra put her arm in there, and her entire body almost went into the bag.
Almost went in, or something dumb this is the curious cat type of thing.
Well, the cat's out of the bag now.
Yeah. What's funny about that too is that if I remember right, that's the other bag had 2 special items in them that I don't remember if you ever created, or if that, I know one of them was probably the what was that item called? The Orb of Many Things or something like that. I would have to look at Penumbra's character sheet to see what the exact
useful
thing. Yeah, the Orb of Useful Things, or
it was just I believe I would call it the Orb of Daily Things. It literally created an item that was useful for that day.
Yeah. So Evan and Zane would run into that when we were on the boat, and we Penumbra made a thing that would used the Orb of Useful Items, and it created that little thing for the crew to warm up or something like that.
It became a
That's
rod of
right.
warmth.
Yeah, it became a rod of warmth. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was the orb of useful items. That's what it was called. But yeah, that's where we found that like those OG magical items, basically.
Mhm.
Mm.
And then I think the only other thing was going to the keep, and I think we were like it was defending itself from kobolds and then winged cobalt.
Mhm.
We got
And
to the keep. It was defending. They said there were people trapped in the church, and here's like an escape tunnel to
yeah,
get to the church. We went there, snuck in. Um,
Did
kind
Zamrakar
of
have his fight after this or before this?
it was after I think.
after,
Okay.
yeah,
They succeeded
'cause-
at getting them from the church.
yeah, which was surrounded, and we were like creating distractions. Got everyone out and over the wall, and then back to the keep. And once everyone was in the keep, that's where what's his name? Resmir? No.
Um, Half Dragon Champion, Ladros.
It's no. Oh, was it Ladros? Because
Ladros,
it wasn't
yeah.
signed up.
Speakers, or wait, no, yeah.
Sign
Speakers Ladros, half blue dragon who serves the cult of the dragon.
It was Sign Raft because I
Oh,
remember
was
we
it?
stole
Yeah.
his sword. But yeah, and Sign Raft came out and challenged. Send your champion
Oh.
out, and that's when Brawley the Minotaur
Yeah.
came out.
So it's funny, we're both right because it's Langdros Seinrath. Seinrath is his last name. So so yeah, I was
If I
like,
remember right, we couldn't figure out how to pronounce the first name.
yeah, Langdros or Langdros, whatever. What? So yeah, we just stuck with Seinrath.
Yeah, so he came out and was like, essentially send your champion, and I promise that, if someone fights, I'll let you guys go or basically whatever.
Lang dead Drosa.
So, Zamrakar just loved fighting, and everyone else, we got scared, Hanu, we got not Gimli, sorry, Ilmig. That's not talking. And then you got two ranged fighters.
Yeah, we kind of like had that moment of we look at each other and then we all look at Zamrakar.
Yeah.
Get in there, buddy.
And he did without even blinking.
No, yeah, he's just like, let's go.
Yeah, and he was doing work against them for
Yeah,
a while.
and then we found out the other guy had multi-attack, and we're like, oh, we're level 3 characters at this point.
Well, I think we're still 2 here.
Are we 2? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're still level 2, and you're fighting like a level 4 or 5
Yeah.
champion.
Yeah.
So it was going back and forth, and this Sign Raft turned up the heat, downed him. But it was like, all right, that was a good fight. It was honorable. Thank you.
Yeah.
Here's the hostages.
Yeah.
I remember right. One of the things that really took him down was Wrath started using his breath weapon.
Yeah, and then that did shit tons of damage for like a breath weapon.
Yeah, and I think he kept recharging and stuff, which was the downside. So.
Yeah.
But essentially the cult retreated from there. We patched Zamrakar up, rested a little bit, and then the keep was like, hey, I can't remember if someone came to town or if the keep was like,
it was
hey,
like a messenger or something like that like so and so needs help.
and some more of our people got captured and taken away.
Yeah.
Can you guys go please, like retrieve them?
We'll pay you.
Yeah. And
at this point in the game, we were all about getting the money rewards.
Oh no, yeah, we were literally mercenaries for hire.
Has that ever changed though?
I know, right? I think the biggest thing is like what really at least brought Penumbra and Fletch to continue going there was they name dropped who was in charge.
Yeah.
And one of them was on Fletch's list. But another thing was like that was like also the introduction of Zamrakar dueling shit, like because every time it's like, hey, we need your best guy versus our best guy. I'll look at Zamrakar, and that was like the similar theme when you guys joined in what was it, the ice or the like chapter 1 in Tyranny of Dragons or the Rise of Tiamat, and then like he 1v1 somebody there. Yeah, like Penumbra and Fletch just looked at each other. It's like Zamrakar's got this.
That's also where I introduced the orb of fire that Zamrakar put onto his weapon.
Oh yeah, I thought it was an orb of lightning or something because he had
Was
like
it
lightning.
lightning?
Yeah, it was lightning
Yeah.
because he had lightning damage.
Yeah.
He got the spear. I'm actually trying to remember how he got the spear. If it was like in the hatchery or if it was somewhere else.
Yeah, it was part of when you guys fought him in the hatchery.
Oh, it was off of what's his face, right?
Yeah, off of his body. Yep.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, yeah. But yeah, we were basically given information on. His name escapes me. It's
monk?
yeah, the monk dude, Leosin. Yeah.
Yeah, I told you just without looking at notes.
Because
Which the chapter 2 people would know him because he survives.
yeah, because we saved it.
What?
But yeah,
Leosin.
so that leads to chapter 2. But you guys kind of get briefly like introduced to Leosin, like because he's in the council, and stuff like that, and he's kind of like the dude who
that's what
keeps
I meant
on.
with chapter 2 or book 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Sneaking in there was very interesting.
we were so bad at it.
Well, before even sneaking in there, I feel like you absolutely had the thing leading up because that was great for Hanu pushing people off the cliffs and them jumping off.
That was no, that was the second time we came back. So that would be chapter 3 because the first time is saving the people.
Oops, that's just
Okay, I thought it was the first time because they were guarding like the path.
No. Yeah, that was the second time because they already left.
Okay.
Yeah, so the first time was like which that's the dragon hatchery. If you can find it doesn't show the outside, the cliff thing.
Yeah, it must have just been a map.
This is the inside.
Yeah.
But
have to look it up.
Yeah, basically it was like cliffside, but it was like a huge divot where they basically made just their camp of operations. So everywhere around the camp was just cliff. And I think like what was the height of the cliff? It was like 150 feet or even higher or something like that. It was something crazy.
Yeah.
To the point where like with a crossbow is like the range wasn't good enough. Like crossbows shoot less range.
It might have been like 100 feet because I know.
Yeah.
I know I was not shooting at disadvantage if I had to shoot.
Yeah, so that's why like we had Fletch on the cliffside.
That's not the reason why she was up there though.
No, yeah,
because we were trying to infiltrate the camp, and because she already knew, she heard the name of someone that was on her list, and also this being a camp of Colsis, her family were in.
There it is.
Was the good side of the cult, but
there it is.
I forgot the dragon hatchery is actually chapter 3. It skips the whole chapter, so you have to come back.
So she was like, "Hey, if I go in, like I'm going to get recognized, or I'm highly likely to get recognized if someone tries to inspect up close, even though she was in disguise." And this is the first time we had trouble because, again, Fletch was the one that talked, and no one else in the party really talked, or had like deception,
or persuasion,
or persuasion,
or look like they belong.
So I think we had some cultists close.
So I think the plan was we would show up because to backtrack a bit, one thing that we forgot that was the most important thing was the fight before we got to the Raiders camp, which was the cliffside fight where it was a bunch of cultists and Penumbra playing peekaboo when she climbed the side of the cliff to see.
I was talking about before.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, that's where like Reggie was like pushing people off, or Hanu, I should say, was pushing people off, and they were like diving off.
Like, I thought you were talking about like this Raider camp thing where it was like when we were at the entrance of the thing.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that was also the start of for Tiamat.
Yeah.
Jumping off cliffs.
I could climb, like Penumbra could climb off, has a climb speed basically of half of her movement, so she would just climb up the side of the thing and then climb back down once shit got hairy. And then Kenny was just well, these enemies need to get to them to hit them, so let's fucking risk it. And they would just jump off the cliffside and just yell out for Tiamat, and then just fucking eat shit and die.
That guy just watched it, and Kenny was like, "Well, let's try this next
Let's
guy."
try it again.
No.
We witnessed 4 guys throw themselves off a fucking cliff and kill themselves.
Even with,
At the end of that, we all just looked at each other like,
what the fuck? These cultists
even
are
for Hanu,
crazy.
because I know that they were peeking over the edge sometime, and I believe that's where you had the one where it pulls you for the Eldritch Blast.
Yeah, it was
So you're,
push.
It was push.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're pushing people off. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but
yeah, they were near the edge and push.
But where we got the idea for infiltrating the camp was from that fight, because the main leader of that encounter was a mercenary dude who was a beefy boy, but assassination is a funny thing for from Penumbra, and I think I took out a good chunk of his HP before he got to us, but and then we just whittled him down as he was trying to get to us, but even then that dude was pretty beefy. But yeah, he was a mercenary hired from the cult to keep an eye out, and he's I have no love for the cult. They just paid me to do this. So where we got that, we took all his shit and just let him go.
Well, no, we told him he needs to go to the town and help defend them.
Right, yeah. Which we I don't remember if we ever got confirmation he did that or not. But that kind of gave us the idea of okay, we're just, because obviously we don't look like cultists. There's a dwarf, a Tortle, Tabaxi, and a Minotaur. I don't know if there's any of those races in the cult. So we'll just say we're a bunch of mercenaries. We were told by so and so, and then I think Fletch also wrote a letter and tried to what's the word for it?
Because you guys couldn't fucking talk, but she tried to, forgery.
Forgery, yeah. So yeah, Fletch forged a letter that was from a higher up or something like that, and it was actually Zamrakar that was talking for us in that one, and let's just say obviously failed the persuasion and deceptions, and then also Zamrakar or Brawley was just I want to talk to your boss, and
oh god, that's right.
Yeah. We were sent here by Signwrath. Oh, you mean him right there?
Yeah. And then he walks up, recognizes Zamrakar immediately because he dueled him, and then we got caught and arrested, or put into similar to the image there, tied up on the thing.
Right where you see 3 at, that's where they were at, tied up.
Yeah.
Right under where it says level 2.
Yeah. So ironically enough, because we were told, hey, we need to find this guy and rescue him, we got tied up and captured and put right next to him. So, and then these cultists not being too smart or on us in general, didn't tie Penumbra's hands or they tied her wrists, but
they tied it with ropes, which
Penumbra has claws.
It was at night where because they were going to keep them there to the next morning to execute them. Fletch, because she was on the outskirts, she climbed down, freed them, and then I think it was Umbra again. They was oh, the people over here, at location 1 and location 2.
I'm trying to remember if there was a reward for saving them, or there was a thing for, or maybe what's his name had us do it too. I don't quite remember why.
The governor.
Yeah. Either that or the monk dude as well. But yeah, no, we ended up saving them as well, and just sneaking off with them in the middle of the night and using the rope that Fletch got down on the cliffside with. But yeah, I think it's me and Zamrakar were able to get out ourselves because horns and claws, and then Fletch helped Ilmig and Hanu. And then we got the citizens or the hostages basically out and got the fuck out of there.
Then we got
Only,
back to
only to be
town.
told the next day to go right back where you
to
were.
go right back because there's eggs and because in the cliff thing, because we saw that there was an entrance to that entrance on the map, like on the east side, where it says number 4. It's like that. We saw that there's something that led to there, but it's like obviously we had to get these people out, so we're just like, well, we're fucking off. And then that's when our monk friend basically told us, hey, I need you guys to go back and get either find the eggs or also so and so is in there, and one of those people being on Fletch's list. So and that leads us to chapter 3.
So like we went back to Greeners, and then we came back, and this is kind of like the first time. Again, this is Fletch was like, I'm getting shit done, because we ran into like 2 cultists and she tortured them in separate tents to get information from them.
Right.
And one of them, because we were like looking for everything, that's where I think I found the first bow. Actually, this bow actually stuck with her, because this one was the grasping bow that she found in one of those tents.
Yeah.
From searching too. And then we went inside the caves.
And things got hot.
My God. Not to Penumbra's liking, but I don't know if you have that map, Kenny. But
you had it up. It was the Dragon Hatchery.
Oh, there, yeah, that's right. I still have it as a tab. Because I'm trying to think of because that was also a cliffside battle when we went over on the side of the cliff, and then that was interesting because there was the fucking the drakes that were climbing the wall like it was nothing, and then that was the first time running into those things, and those things were beefy at the time for like level. Were we level 3 characters or still level 2?
You were level 3 at this point.
Okay, so we had our subclasses for those who weren't multi-classing.
Or at least you were level 3, I believe, at the end of this. If I remember right, I think I was doing level at the end of chapters.
Yeah, because I think that was like a thing that the module like suggested as well if you were doing XP and stuff like that. Because I don't think it had sub like side quests, but not as like crazy. Like, hey, go here.
Yeah, the second book was a little bit more of open-ended. Of you could just go anywhere
and just like DM's discretion on levels. But yeah, entering the hatchery, it was just like it was SEAL Team 6 of let's get in there, clean it out, get the
when Brawley almost killed us with Zamrakar.
Oh, that was at the end of the dungeon or close to, which I think that's like one of the basically the important thing of this chapter was just that another like one side joke was when we went from 2 to 13 on the map, and that was when Penumbra hid in a box. But also us. Oh wait, no, we went all the way.
We went all the way up first because 2 was blocked by a almost invisible
doorway, and then we went from 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way around. And do we want to talk about what happened to 8 and 9? To poor Side
8
Wrath?
and 9. Again, this is that tactical stuff where Fletch and Umber was like really excelling at before hand her over the reins. But I got the bright idea because I had a bunch of like oil flasks and I had my one warlock level for like control flames and or create bonfire. And I'm like, man, you know, Zamrakar got his ass kicked by this guy. And we heard him in Area 9. So I'm like, hey, Zamrakar, like, watch this. So Fletch was sneaking in that hallway and setting up oil flask along this whole hallway, just kind of everywhere. And then she came back out because she saw Sign Rafted, and it was like, okay, you know, he's honorable, you know, and he's also stupid because he's honorable. So she snuck back and was like, all right, Zamrakar, provoke him, like call him out. So Zamrakar was like, hey, Sign Raft, you piece of shit, like, you know, come get some, like, let's fight again. And Sign Raft, being him,
Poor guy.
rolled and you know got provoked, so started going into this hallway. Fletch waited till he got like halfway in and then did a create bonfire on one of the oil flashes, creating explosions everywhere in this
Nice.
and burning burning this guy.
The other thing is that those with range also had like actions readied.
Yeah.
So the moment he turned the corner, we would just blasted him. And so yeah, explosions go off. He gets, you know, stuck with arrows, and then I believe it was Zamrakar, like initiative, walked up and then just slammed the dude and killed him instantly.
Beautiful.
It was just like a
Like,
complete one shot, and I don't remember the exact words of Zynrath or Synrath, but it was just like, where was the honor in that? Or just like something like that with honor.
Yeah.
And Kenny, what was your thought, Kenny, in that moment?
I was like, well, that's one way of doing it.
I could feel like Kenny's frustration of just like, man, this guy was gonna kick, like, possibly this is gonna be a very interesting encounter, and then these assholes blew him the fuck up.
It was interesting.
It'll be a memorable encounter for the rest of the campaign.
It
Well,
was for
Remember
different
that?
reasons.
Remember that guy we fucking blew up? But yeah, I think that's where.
Did we take his head?
No, yeah, we totally did.
Okay.
We took his
I
head,
think
put it.
Albert ate some like grilled tail or something from him too. didn't she?
I couldn't remember if it was from the because I think she said like no to humanoid creatures, but she said yes to like the barbecued fucking drakes.
Okay, yeah, it was the
Yeah,
Drake
it was
scene.
like the drakes that she actually like took some. Because I was also just inside jokes. Is like she's a street kid. She would just literally eat everything that she could. So
And then what else happened in the Area 9, guys?
hey, man.
That's where Zamrakar got bloodlust and was like, "Man, I want to kill more things, even if
Oh,
it's
look,
my own party members."
And then we went to area 10.
Well,
No,
Let's say
or at
with a
9.
friend.
Well,
in
at
Area
9,
9,
Zamrakar smashed the statue, and that's where all that
Oh,
poison
yeah.
came out. And then he was like, I remember we just short rested, and then he almost killed us, and then we like,
short
well,
rested
let's go
again.
back to 8 guys.
Yeah. Yeah, like this is like a statue of Tiamat or something like that, and Zamrakar's backstory thing was like, I hate dragons, and this thing is this is a statue of worshiping a dragon. Fuck the statue, smash. Was it like Constitution saving throw for everybody in the
Mhm.
room because of the poison that just leaked through?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because he farted or something.
Yeah. And then immediately had to like short rest right again. The funny thing is that like before we go to Area 10, we discovered, like, I don't know if it was investigation check or a thing or whatever, but if you see the little passage that leads from 9 to 11,
Oh god, another trap. I
the
forgot.
other trap, yeah. So we discovered there was like a trap door thing there that led to like a different room, but we never opened it because it's like, okay, somebody's obviously in there. So what we're gonna do is our remaining explosives, we're gonna lace it at the bottom, and then put a spear pointing straight up, because it was like it was a ladder leading up to a trapdoor. And then
That
at
would
the,
explode up.
yeah,
on top of
the sphere would like immediately explode up the moment that trapdoor was open, and just skewer whoever was going through, because the explosions would just set it off and launch the spear up. So we set that trap up, but I don't think I think we had to disarm it once we got
Yeah.
circled back.
Mhm.
But
That's amazing.
then there's area 10.
I think one of us almost set it off though.
I think so too. Like
They were like, oh wait, remember.
There's a
I bet Kenny was waiting for that to happen. Like, yes, let them go
open
into
the
their
door, you
trap.
fucks. Enough of killing my NPCs with explosive flasks.
So you like it.
So, Area 10, a special place in Penumbra's heart.
That was like a bunch of drakes in there, and we were fighting drakes.
There was
And that's it.
Yeah. So
called the eggs.
our mission was to recover the eggs, or like destroy them, or whatever, however we wanted to deal with them. We decided to take them because there's more money in it.
Of course.
And I think there was a reward for each egg and stuff like that. And that's when our perfect playthrough fell through. As the plan was to like, because yeah, it was like a bunch of drakes in that little pit in Area A. I don't think there was kobolds in 10, right? But we
They
killed
were
them.
taking care of the tree.
10B were throwing glue bombs and fire bombs at you.
Mhm.
Right, and then we just fucking killed them and pushed them into B or something like that, or also fed them to the drakes.
Yeah,
You
that's
fed
what
them
we're
to the
doing.
drakes.
Didn't I shoot an Eldritch Blast at a bomb back at them?
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
you did do that. That did happen. I don't even remember the remotely of like why that was a thing, or like the throw was so bad because they were like trying to throw those flasks at us and they just rolled absolute trash. That like yeah, it was like Hanu's turn next and the Eldritch Blast and it just shot one back or blew one up in one of them's hands or something. But basically the plan was once we kill those kobolds, we Fletch, who was a certain type of elf, had the ability of making someone invisible for 1 hour once per day, and made Penumbra invisible. And Penumbra went into Area A, and to distract the drakes that were in there, they threw the kobold bodies at the drakes so they can eat. Penumbra got to one egg. I don't remember if it was the first egg or it was the second egg.
It was I believe it was the first egg in the far corner of the
Yeah.
map.
For some reason, so my thought was like, okay, I'm gonna go on the right side, circle back, collect all the eggs, and then come back at the exit. Go to the first egg, and I had the bag of holdings, and these eggs were pretty big, so I was just like, okay, lift slowly, quietly, put into bag, and then out of nowhere, Kenny's like, "What's your AC?" Or please make a deck save or something like that, and I'm like, fuck. And
It was as soon as he lifted the egg.
yep, and
We were like, is it a drake? Did it lose interest or something?
yeah, we're like, what the fuck could this be? And then I failed the deck save, being a rogue, surprisingly, and something just shatters the egg.
Yep, it's like, oh look, that's stalagmite right next to you. It wasn't a stalagmite.
I don't
It was
think we noticed until like
no, we didn't even notice until it
it
slashed
was just
the
like
egg.
it broke somehow. Because didn't we grab like one egg before we left?
No,
Or before we ran away?
No, we definitely got 2 eggs. It's just one of them broke.
Yeah,
Because of the roper.
and then yeah, it was the fucking roper. And it was like asking like who is there because it can talk or something, and I'm like fuck it's Penumbra, and then go towards another egg, pick that one up and start putting it in the bag, and then it starts swinging, like tentacles start slapping around, and that thing has like 120-foot reach.
Yeah.
I think you guys told me about this fight.
Yep,
It filled the whole room.
it basically had a reach of the whole entire room from that corner. And it tried to slap the other egg out of my hand or like try to attack me, but I made the other 2 deck saves, got the eggs, and got the fuck out of there. It's funny because there was a moment where I like, let me shoot it.
Oh, is this where we almost set off the trap by ourselves? Because we were running.
It might have been, or like we were just like running. I was like, okay, let's go up the thing. Wait, no, there's a trap there. Okay, other way.
Oh yeah, because we knew that the trap was going to be there.
Mhm.
And Fletch was like, hey, let's go around the other way.
Yeah.
Because if it goes around, we will definitely hear it, and they will definitely know. So
Yeah,
then we
and,
like double back.
and I haunted them with the fact that the roper just kept chasing them as they're
Oh,
running
yeah.
through. But
So
luckily, it couldn't move very quickly.
Yeah, so we doubled back all the way to area 2. And then we went to area 12, and I believe it was just a shit ton of people there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then one of those tactical things, we fell back to room 13, which no one was in there. So Zamrakar and Ilmig held the door while we were like Eldritch blasting and shooting arrows.
This is where I blew off that guy's chest.
Yep.
I was like, oh my god.
More power, but that was also when Penumbra was sitting in a box,
Yeah.
poking her head out, and
in room 13,
yeah,
because their protection height.
yeah.
So we took care of that, and then we went to area 11, which was the first person on Fletch's list. And I think she just came out shooting, didn't she? I don't think I give her any chance.
She was in her robes.
Yeah,
She wasn't.
she was ready to go to bed.
She wasn't expecting us, and we captured her. I don't remember if she surrendered or we did something, or you ensnared her with a bow. But yeah, we immediately captured her, and because the one thing that was like in a way like helpful for like Penumbra and Fletch's relationship is that Fletch was also like basically helping Penumbra find information about Talus. So like every cultist we captured, every person we were able to question, we would just bring up was there a prisoner named Talus? And all of the information was basically no. We don't know who that is. There's so many prisoners. We can't keep track of any of them. And then before killing, Fletch's target, Fletch asked her, "Do you know who Talus is? Or like, do you know who this prisoner is, or where they can be?" And that's when.
Talus the White?
And then that's when the person's like, "You mean Talus the White? One of the previous worm speakers?" What?
Shit.
Dun dun dun.
And it was
was
like,
great.
wait, she's a part of the cult? Dun dun dun, yeah. And then I think that's where we left off on that. And then like either we, I'm pretty sure Fletch killed the shit out of them.
100% she wasn't.
Oh yeah. I don't remember what you did to kill her. If it was just an arrow to the face or a good old
I can't
shanking,
remember
but
either, because I remember up under her bed was the trap. Maybe we dropped her on the spike or
did
something.
we? I think I don't remember us doing that.
I
There's
can't
all
remember
of her
exactly what
spells.
happened. I know she was just dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might have been an arrow, might have been, a stab.
Frulam
yeah.
Mondath, that was her name.
Mhm.
As you can see, that's why we didn't necessarily remember names, other than like Fletch remembering like who the target is.
Darn fantasy names anyway.
Because like the moment we met them, we murdered the shit out of them. We only knew them by name until we finally met them, and then immediately killed them.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I didn't put how, but I know I updated my list on my sheet because I had the names and I was like, Frulon Mondath dead. But yeah, from there, like we eventually went back to Greenest, and I think that's where we got information from Leosin to travel to the capital.
It was to either not. It wasn't Waterdeep. It was Baldur's Gate, wasn't it? Or was it?
You were to meet Leosin, traveled ahead of you, and left message to meet in Elturel first.
Okay, that's what it was.
This isn't the caravan part, right?
It is.
It is. It is the start of the caravan.
It's the start of the
Okay.
caravan arc. And speaking of which,
Long trek.
Where we met our characters, our old characters.
yep, that's when we met the characters from Kenny's first session that we ran.
Continuity.
Yep. It's funny because that's also where Fletch got the fucking flask,
Nice.
Flask.
which belonged to. If you guys look at the Discord and see Blunkins, or
Blunkins.
also
Blunkins.
Vulcus, that was his flask,
Oh.
and that was
He was
also
a drug
the
paladin.
NPC we ran into, or was a player character, now NPC, that Fletch totally stole that from.
He was a paladin of Dionysus, a satyr paladin.
Yep. He was
Nice.
drunk 24/7.
Which was pretty fun.
It was fun until he had to leave the
Yeah.
campaign. But his character lived on to give Fletch the tool to fuck with other people. But yeah, this one was like, it's funny for the module, because like I remember going back through the module and when we were discussing it, because this part was just confusing. Because it's like, hey, go to this city, and I think it was either Waterdeep or Baldur's Gate. And
So it's Elturel to Baldur's Gate,
yeah,
and then Baldur's Gate to Waterdeep.
and then it was just like the way the module was saying things was so confusing, and it was like so open ended that it's just like how to start it and why we're doing it in the first place was so confusing.
And they give the option of like by land or by boat or by
Yeah.
horse. It's like, yeah.
and then initially it's just like, yeah, go through, join as a guard group in the caravan, hide yourselves, make sure the cult doesn't know who you are, and kind of like follow the caravan, because there's been note that there's cultist activity, and some of the people in the caravan are cultists, and just figure out like where the treasure's headed.
Because you had to travel 200 miles from Greenest to Elturel on horseback, which takes about 6 days. So there's 6 days already that you're just traveling just from one city to the other. And then you had to go to Baldur's Gate.
This is also where we started getting hints about how Hanu would handle power.
Yeah. This is the chapter when Anthony had the idea of, okay, what if we make other people leaders of the group for a period of time?
But wasn't like Fletch or Umbra like the leader of the caravan or something?
No, so
Of the guard?
so what's funny is that we actually rolled for like who would have a certain position in the caravan of like in charge of people.
That's right.
And like Ilmeg was in charge of 2 guys, and then Hanu had the highest like captain of the guard thing or some shit like that, and it was in charge of 4 guys. And then I don't remember what Penumbra and Fletch's thing was, like if we were, I don't think we were in charge of people.
I think we were like higher up because Hanu was doing the thing where like he would give out your orders or something like that.
Yeah.
Umbra was under Zamrakar, I believe, and Fletch had a couple of people under her.
Right. It was like something like that. It was just like, that was just used fun stuff of like for Hanu and like to have people to like, I have power over people. What do I do?
That's when the joke of him becoming Tanya the Evil.
Yeah,
started.
that's right.
Like, you do this. Listen to my command.
Huh.
This
So
is
that's what
where
it looks like.
I asked for other random NPCs as well, because the book already gave me like, what was it, like 23 NPCs, and it's like, if you guys want any other random NPCs to be available?
I don't think we met anyone else's besides Fletch's, because she had like her contact.
No.
And that's where you started kind of like showing interest in Fletch as well.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There's Fletch's contact, and her contact was I don't know where
it was it was a girl and her dad.
Bonnet. His name was like Bonnet.
Yeah.
And her dad, that was her the contact, but her Bonnet had a daughter and she basically looked up to Fletch like a superhero,
Aw.
essentially, and was getting all excited. And Fletch, gave her hugs and whatnot. It was like real nice to her, despite being undercover. It was always
Mhm.
nice to her. And that's where Umbra was like, hey, do you know what kind of right into her, do you know what kind of colors, Fletch likes, and doing this.
It was like
Yeah, so
it's funny for that because like in that moment, considering like our characters were fairly close, of just like you were helping my character out a lot, just because again asking like every time we captured a cultist, where's Talus? Do you know a prisoner named Talus? Do you know where you're sending these prisoners? Type of thing. So like that
Yeah.
friendship pretty much grew. And then it was a form, like it wasn't like in that moment I didn't have that there's romantic feelings. It was just like Penumbra sees Fletch as a really close friend, and then here's this other girl that shows up that was like also getting kind of friendly with her, and I'm like, is she trying to steal my friend? And then I was like, it was that whole process of like, because it was kind of at the beginning, Penumbra was a little not, I guess, kind of cold or like cautious, like a cautious cat meeting a new person for the first time. I was like, I don't know if I'm chill with this person. And then like I kind of hit that like, okay, I can't, like in Penumbra's mind, it's like I can't get jealous of like someone who's obviously like friends with this person. So the best thing for me to do is also be friends with them. And that's when also it was just Penumbra's way of like getting to know more about Fletch. I was like, yeah, what is Fletch's favorite color? What is tell me what you know about Fletch. Tell me like
question.
things like that. What's up?
How was she asking the questions exactly?
Paper.
Her notebook. Either that or
Okay, got
well,
it.
also at the time that's when because Fletch was also trying to learn sign language.
Okay.
Either on that journey or even before that, like heading to the hatchery and stuff like that. I think that's when Fletch tried to start learning as much as she could to communicate with Penumbra.
And this was like almost directly before you did the mind thing, right?
Yep, this was before that.
Okay,
That's
got
where
it. So
the
using
color
those
of her
questions.
scarf came from.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was like, yeah, what color does she like? And I was
What's
like,
her favorite
teal.
color? Yeah.
Yeah.
And also to kind of explain this, like once they did get to Baldur's Gate, they had to go another 750 miles on horse-drawn carriage, which can only go 15 miles per day. So they had a whole 2 months worth of traveling
Yep.
from Baldur's Gate that they had to go upon. So a lot of downtime and camping.
Yeah, and then it was
Yeah.
also a lot of random encounters, and that's where like like some of them were kind of whatever. Certain random encounters, like this was one of the random encounters in the artwork. I forget what these creatures are called, but
Petting
cats.
yeah, and then they just attacked the caravan and webbed them up and stuff like that, and we had to clean them out.
There was that. There's a doppelganger.
The doppelganger.
Them.
Uh,
There was the cultists trying to
the
kill us.
Yep, and we that was our favorite moment of just like, or one memorable moment of dealing with them, which you could totally tell how that happened.
I forgot. What was it? The bone or something, or some that they were trying to.
Okay, that was like slightly later. I thought you were talking about the one where you took in the
No.
Genie.
Well, yeah, they definitely tried. I forgot why we did that, but maybe we saw them that they were trying to strike at us first or something.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to jump on them, killed a guy, and pulled him into the ring.
Fucking.
And that's where Kenny started role playing Gael a little bit more, and I was like, why you pull this in here? You're messing up
yeah.
my floor and stuff. And then it was like,
I gotta clean blood off my carpet.
Yeah. I think this was
I
this was also the first time like in this whole thing of like inviting Penumbra to the ring.
not quite yet.
Or was it yet?
No, not quite yet. I'll get you to it, but pulled a body in there, and Guile met a zombie out of him.
It's like
Yeah.
we can't let this body go notice that it's missing. Let me just give it life.
Yeah.
Give it commands and just like so it just says things that it would in the situations or something like that.
Yeah.
Can't
So
have a dead
then,
body if it's not dead.
Yeah.
Flawless logic.
so during that, so we did that. Then other shenanigans happened. That's where Fletch stole some armor from someone as a golden breastplate. So she just hid it in her ring and started modifying it.
Yeah, that's when at the
Uh,
end.
That's when we came across there's a golden stag.
Yup.
And everyone was like, "Yeah, I want to hunt it. I want to hunt it." And
Even
Fletch was like, "Leave it
Penumbra.
alone."
Even Penumbra was
even
after it.
Penumbra. Yeah. So
She
people
just
was
saw
like, "No,
food.
we're gonna go hunt it." So Fletch was like, "All right, I guess I got to start killing people." So Fletch took off running after it into the woods and like trying to keep people away. And I guess it was an encounter because
Mhm.
caught up to this golden stag, and I guess it like thanked her for protecting it, and that's where it turned into the golden longbow that Fletch had.
Yeah, so the +1 longbow.
Yeah, so
That
I
was
had like 2
encounter
bows.
number 7.
Yep.
And then I remember we were like trying to get information from the cults and stuff. So Fletch was like, "All right, let me go do my, spy undercover shit." And it ended up going like she was talking to like one wizard or something. Um, and I forgot how it completely played out, but I think she tried to go invisible on there, and got
Yeah.
caught
Yep.
by this wizard.
It's the
So
invisibility.
yeah, she kept her like her disguise, and was like, "Oh, I was trying to do this because I was trying to get closer to you, and like basically lying, but willing to pull off anything to keep her disguise and keep her cover." So she ended up sleeping with like this random wizard woman a couple of nights, and that's where Umbra started getting like super jealous.
This bitch. Well, so
Yeah.
you're forgetting one thing. So that happened after Waterdeep. Because remember, we went to Waterdeep first, and then that's when we met that rogue chick that saw that like they were trying to kill us with that bone thing in the food.
Yeah, except it was her.
Yeah. Though remember the inn that we stayed in Waterdeep, and that's when we met
Sprocket.
Sprocket, which I can't fucking Kenny.
I won't forget Sprocket because I remember it was Ratchet and Clank. I'm like, I know this.
Yep. And that's when we met Sprocket, and then Fletch and Penumbra shared a room. And that was kind of like girls' night, fucking.
And Ilmig being a pervert because you took over there.
Yeah. I think it was like halfway through. Fucking hell. I think it was like halfway through this this whole thing that the player for Ilmig decided to stop playing. So I just took over as Ilmig. And we just kind of like made it a running joke that like Ilmig just tried to take a peek at them. But yeah, at that time it was like they had.
I think Hanu tried to stop him, and then like he ended up getting blamed for it too.
Yep.
Or something like that.
Hanu, we thought better of you.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it was just like Fletch and Penumbra hanging out in the inn, and then like also asking for drinks and food and stuff like that, and then asking Sprocket to join us. And it was just like pretty much just like friends hanging out type of thing, and
They were being too loud.
And then we were being too loud, and Hanu with his fucking broomstick of like, keep it down up there.
It's funny because I called for Sprocket. She came down, gave me the broom, went back up, and it was like boom, boom, boom. Keep it down up there.
Yeah. And of course, Sprocket's Inn was all fancy
Automated.
with automated stuff, running water.
Yeah, no, like it was like the first time in a long time like our characters took a bath.
Oh, that happened in your campaign too.
Yeah. I mean,
It
yeah,
wasn't a
that's
group bath, though.
no, it wasn't the group
That was-
bath, but it was just Penumbra and Fletch, and it was like one of those things where it's like Penumbra's a street kid, so she just like was absolutely dirty, and just like didn't care about being like filthy. And then there's Fletch just like, nope, you're gonna clean this shit. I was like, when imagining like Penumbra without her hood, it's just like her hair, like she cut it herself. But obviously from like a view of like, there's obviously no mirrors. So it was just like cut awful. Like it just looks awful. And then I was like assuming like Fletch probably like fixed it or something like that.
It's kind of
But
cute.
yeah, like a little kid that got a hold of scissors and thought I could cut my own hair. But then that's when it led to like Fletch sleeping with that. Ironically, it was also a tiefling wizard character or NPC, and then like for Penumbra's state of mind, because I also like thought of that of like from Penumbra's point of view, this person who's been helping her out this whole entire time and like getting to know her so well, and then sleeping with this tiefling girl. Why is Penumbra pissed at this? And then it was like, oh, she likes her. And then that's when I think Anthonie and Fletch caught on when we made it to the next city, which was like, I think that was the end of the caravan or like one of the stops towards the end of the caravan arc. And Fletch, being like more or less close with Penumbra, put her head on Penumbra's shoulder, and it was like, because I was like kind of pointing out that Penumbra was pouting a bit, and then. And a bit, yeah. She was like,
no, it was like, hey, Umbra, how's it going? Why don't you go talk to your tiefling friend?
Yeah, no,
like,
what? No, yeah, it was like, yeah. She Fletch put her head on her shoulders and like, so what's wrong, Penumbra? I was like, why don't you talk to your tiefling friend about it? And I was like, okay. And then that's kind of like the sign that to Fletch that like Penumbra had more feelings kind of thing, because she was obviously upset about it. Like it wasn't even Fletch's fault, because Fletch even told Penumbra in that moment like, no, I did that to protect us, because if I didn't do that, then we would have been caught, we would have probably been killed or something, down that line. So it was like, it made sense, like to Penumbra, but it's still like she was still angry about it. But then that started down the line of both of us scrambling to get a gift for each other and like basically like pretty much make it official.
Well, it wasn't that. It was like mine's was kind of an apology.
Oh.
Which was like those charms and stuff, and like, hey, I do care about you and stuff like that. Like, didn't mean to hurt your feelings. So I remember I got the charm. That's where you started getting the idea. Well, because I got the ruby charm, and Kenny was like, hey, I was enchanted to do something a little bit better for you. I'm like, oh, thanks. And it ended up being a fire charm doing more damage. And you were like, oh, cool. And I think that's where you started like running with the fire charm ideas.
The fire charm ideas. Because originally it was like it added a d6 of damage, and then I was like thinking, okay, so like for rogue stuff, an extra 1d6 of damage is nice, but at a certain point there's going to be things that have resistance to piercing damage, and that is literally going to cut all my damage straight in half, and I am basically going to be useless against those type of things. So that's when I got the idea of like turning the weapon charm, instead of extra damage, it just turned my sneak attack damage into fire. And so that original charm was the gift, or the apology gift from Fletch to Penumbra. And then that's when Penumbra kind of like, that's when I was messaging Kenny, and then Kenny messaging Anthonie, what's Fletch's favorite color?
I'm playing matchmaker over here, Kenny.
Yeah, I know. And then that's when I made the scarves, and like I was like, okay, I want to make this moment pretty special to Penumbra, and also just like, what is something that's also like super helpful to the group, and that is basically like having Fletch hear Penumbra's voice for the first time. And
And then-
oh, go ahead.
I say, and then you also that charm also made it so that you no longer had to track your ammo.
Oh yeah, for the fire charm, yeah, like once you put it on, it just creates the fire arrow. Even though, like, during the whole caravan arc, every time we were on off days, we would literally make 20 arrows. And just like, yeah, and then store them in the Genie.
And then storing it in the ring.
Yep. So that's when yep, and then that's when Kenny like literally was like, you don't have to keep track of ammo anymore. You're good. You guys are good, because like every day we would just go back into the ring and grab what we needed to refill our stores, and then just come back out and it was like we're ready to fight. But then yeah, that's when Fletch. I don't remember if it was another hotel room thing or another inn that we went to.
Revealed her true identity.
Yep. And then Penumbra also gave her the scarf and revealed her voice to her. And then they kissed. And that's where that shit started. That was a good moment.
From the caravan was
that's when
their hideout.
Yeah, so that was leading to chapter 5 of like, okay, we reached the end of the caravan, we saw where the gold and the treasure was headed, and then we still needed to follow them, and then that's when they met another assassination target for Fletch. And so that leads up to chapter 5. And that's where we met the lizard folk, and it was funny for like trying to figure out like what, you know, like we basically had to infiltrate, or also just like, hey, we're just a mercenary group, came from the caravan. If you guys need a mercenary group to like watch your stuff, we'll totally do that. And they're like, well, stay here and we'll talk to so and so and about it. And then us kind of noticing like the movements of like the cultists and like, you know, moving stuff to a storage room. Me as a player and as Penumbra kind of like put it together of like, oh, there's a secret door in there. They're obviously going to like literally in the middle of the night get all their stored like treasure and then just go under and take the fuck off. So also during the caravan arc, I think at the beginning, the Harpers kind of gave us those potions. I think it was one each. Yeah. Where it basically like you picked a race and it would turn you into that race, but the opposite gender.
Yep, it was untested, so they didn't know the effect of that it changed you into an opposite gender. That was just a side effect.
The way we found out was Zamrakar drank the first one and turned it like thought of orc, and then turned into a female orc that just had everything out because Zamrakar was bare chested. And then Zamrakar got super uncomfortable because Fletch was hitting on that. Or giving him shit for it. No, yeah. It was just like making fun of, or just like, he was like, damn, nice. I could feel Zamrakar and Brawley just like, I want to switch back. I don't like this.
Oh, and the funny part, because it happened almost immediately, where she was doing that, like, slapping his ass at the time. The funny part is you had to roll for a constitution save to get it to go away, but you wanted to roll low because you need to, like, you know, essentially pass it, like pee it out. And because Brawley was a barbarian, and he kept passing these constitution saves and could not get it out of his system, so he was in that form for a while.
That's hilarious.
The fact that we were never caught in that fucking caravan was amazing, just because there were so many times we transformed or changed or disguised or something, and this like mercenary group would just always just shift in like who was in the mercenary group.
Because Fletch actually changed her identity like halfway, because I think we got to Baldur's Gate and then she changed identities.
Yep.
And she was like Yuki then. And she was like, hey, I'm gonna assume the form of a snow elf. You know, since we're going to the north anyway, I'm trying to get back home. You know, so I think that was the first transformation or first identity change.
Yeah.
Besides, Umbra to Fletch.
Yeah.
Essentially.
But that was also when we used one of those potions the second time in that roadhouse thing, and I believe it was Fletch that turned into Sign
One of
Wrath.
the guards. Yeah.
Well, it was Sign Wrath, or maybe you did it change into a guard and then you changed into Sign Wrath. I don't quite remember the full rotation, or it was just Sign Wrath, and you just came in with just robes because
I think I peeked in invisibly and stuff like that. And then I came out, and then changed to Sign Wrath, and then went back in.
Yeah. And then just like, where's the, hey, I'm on orders to see what the treasure is. And then you like roll, like it was suspicious at first, and then you rolled high or something. And then they're like, oh, it's in room 4 or something like that. And they're like, nice, all right, bye. And then that night, we kind of like broke in, killed the guys that were in room 3, made it to room 4, pushed a barrel. Oh, we did. Oh no, it was Hanu sleep.
Yeah, I think I tricked them or something, like made them drink a bunch because I still had
that's when you're using the flask.
Yeah, used the flask and they got real super drunk, so they passed out. Because I was like, yeah, I'm Siren Wrath, like sharing a drink with me or something like that.
That's right. Yep. And then the rest of us were just like chilling in another room or something like that. I'm trying to remember. Was this like also considering the relationship stuff? That was also when Fletch was just like how we would hide, or like the moment we would get caught, it was just like, quick, make out. And just, like they would pop out. I was like, God damn it, get a fucking room, you two. Like, what the fuck? Oh, we're sorry. We didn't mean to like, intrude, and move along. And then I forgot who else was like, hey, let's find a room or something like that. And then we picked a room and it was just people in it. Like already in it. And we're like, well, there's like some awkward shit that happened in that one, because that was kind of like us trying to figure out like, do we eavesdrop on Fletch's target dude? Which I don't remember his name because the module didn't even give him a face. It was just like an orc dude.
It literally was a token with Bodluck on it.
Yeah, Bodluck, that's right.
Like, I'm killing it. I don't care if it's just a token. I'm killing it.
Still killing that asshole. So yeah, all we were told is like he was either a half orc or an orc, just part of the cult or something like that. And yeah, his name was Bodluck, and that was it. And he was just like he was just transferring shit from like the treasure from the caravan to like whatever thing that they needed. So yeah, knocked those guys out with drinking them to not to death, but so they were knocked out. Moved into room 4, saw that all the treasure was gone, saw the trapdoor, went in, and I think we opened the room to 4, and it was lizard folk. And I guess the cult either hired these ones, or just like, later on we found out that they were either captured or, like, hey, told to, you're working for us now, basically. You're under our management. Didn't know at the time we killed those guys. Because they were, they actually came at us. So it's just like the moment we opened the door, they immediately pulled out their swords. So we murdered those guys. Followed
at the end of the tunnel up underneath. That's where Bodluck was. And
yeah.
I think he probably was just like so weak anyway. Kenny was like, "Do you want to kill him?" I'm like, "Hell yeah."
Yeah, we were just like immediate. Like I think we just clean, because there were lizard folks, cultists, and we kind of just like wiped them all out. And just like immediate. Like I think first it was an assassination shot from Penumbra, and then it was 2 arrows from Fletch to the head. And it was just like game over for that guy. And then that's what led to chapter 6. I guess real fast for Evan and Zane. Do you guys have any questions for us, or like things that you guys would be like thinking about of like what happened to us in these chapters, or
Where were your characters at this point?
that's actually a good question for you two. For reverse it back on you guys.
Yeah,
What were your characters doing at this point?
that was
Yeah.
half joke and half serious question.
I know, yeah, that's a really good question, actually.
I'll let Zane go first.
So that is a good question. I'm trying to think about the timing of things and like and how long it took up until you met us from when you guys first
I
started.
think this was months before.
Wise, I think we're timing wise because I think in the module, I think there's like a little bit of time. So I want to say there's probably about 6 months or something like that. Where we at
6
right
months.
now? Yeah.
Okay, so probably when you guys first started, Saevel would have fucked up his first and only like espionage mission. And
I see.
like he would have been working as like head librarian for the Order of the Scribes up until then.
Okay. Trying to look over it, like the backstory I have for Renford here. Because he actually lived in like Waterdeep. I want to say 7 years off the top of my head. Just sort of like working his way up through the ranks. According to what Kenny and I worked out, was that he was Waterdeep's champion. We said, right?
Yeah, he was. If I remember right, you were part of. Crap, I forget what it was called.
It was
I
like one
wasn't
of the
sure-
Paladin guilds or something like that.
Oh yeah. Well,
You were part of the Order of the Gauntlet, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so basically, in my mind, he had worked his way up through the ranks, and there had been like a undead outbreak, and he got like attention for just kicking ass during that. It's like, cool.
Yeah.
In recognition for this, we're gonna put you on this mission over here, and that's when it part of the starts with part 2.
Yeah.
Fucking Thay.
It was either Order of the Gauntlet or you were the Lord's Alliance, which
Lord's Alliance, that's what it was.
Yeah, because Cephas was from
he
the
was-
Order of the Gauntlet.
the Lord's Alliance actually spans mostly from Neverwinter, but Lord Neverember brought you and everything to Waterdeep as part of that. So
Yeah, because I saw that. I had looked it up to research it. I saw the Waterdeep was part of the Lord's Alliance. Like, that works. He's been there the whole time, or almost the whole time, anyway.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, did you guys have any question for like us so far?
No, I mean just the one I asked earlier.
Which one was that one again? Sorry.
You already answered it about like how she was communicating to that person.
Yeah, it was just like yeah, it was either sign language if she knew that they had thieves' cant, or if it was just by paper and just paper and pen.
Yeah, I missed the paper and pen part. I was like, wait, how does this work?
Yeah. We never got that in oh, go ahead.
I say it'd be funny if when you guys were in Waterdeep, if you just literally walked right past Renford at some point.
Oh my god! I mean, like that could have totally been a possibility. Hey, maybe we we stole his shit when we stopped by and.
Right.
That's gonna be like a little extra scene in the Netflix show.
No, yeah.
Yeah, Netflix adaptation. Yeah. Just the back. Like
Do you think Renford ever had something go missing?
Yeah, and he finds it later. He's like, wait.
Not find it later.
Yeah, never found out.
You're eating an apple that says Renford on it.
Yeah. Oh, I guess that's actually that's a good like.
Yeah, we forgot about the apple.
That's a good callback. I forgot about that.
The apple.
So for Penumbra, it was funny because the whole apple joke stemmed from like every time we went to a bar and stuff like that. One of the things for Penumbra's quirks was that she never drank, and I normally said it like if she was a lightweight, So like the moment someone brought out alcohol and the fumes hit her, she would like immediately like almost start passing out.
Which later was revealed.
Why
Some
that
other
was
stuff.
but I also just ran with that. But so every time like we went to an inn, they like Fletch would ask him, "Can we have some apple juice for for Penumbra?" And then also like every time we would go through a town, the first thing that Penumbra would steal were apples. And so like there would be moments where just like the party would look away, look back, and Penumbra has an apple in her mouth.
I can imagine like Renford is sort of task fast. Like, okay, so we have a pattern. Yeah, this thief, whoever she is, she always takes an apple. That's her signature thing.
Calling card.
The calling card leaves a half-bitten apple on the side or something.
Yeah.
Try to catch me.
It's like in the apple itself.
all the fruit stands are just getting all their shit stolen. Like, and it's funny
Right.
because sometimes the inns were like, "Oh well, we don't have apples," and then Penumbra would just pull out the bag of holding and just empty
Yeah,
a
take
bunch
one
of
out.
apples. Like just her mini hoard of apples and fruit that she would steal. So that was just like an inside joke and stuff like that stemmed from that. Trying to think if there was any like other small jokes like that or like that continued
I
on.
do not remember when. So anyway, I saw where blasting started.
Oh, that was like I think that was the hatchery.
Was it?
Like ever since like you started Eldritch blasting, we kind of just like made that joke. It was like, so I started blasting, and it might have been like
what
all the
does
way from
Hanu
there.
do? Well, so anyway,
Yeah, I just started blasting. Oh man, and that will like continue on of just like every time Eldritch Blast is mentioned or Hanu is like, oh, someone just started blasting, Hanu would be proud.
I actually that makes me think of another question because like you mentioned earlier that you had taken someone's head. Like, was that kind of like a running gag? Like you keep taking people's heads? Because I was like, remember the intro scene.
That was Fletch being a little bit petty and a little bit I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, okay.
Because like because like when they told us, hey, like we need you to capture these guys or kill these guys, like for both I think Wrath and her target, I think she would probably cut their heads off.
Yeah,
So
no.
they was like, hey, like, we got to bring you guys to court and talk and strategize and stuff. And it was like, oh, this is what we've been doing with guys. What have you guys gotten done?
Yeah.
And then pulling the heads out and like dropping it on the table. And then going back.
I love the intro, by the way.
And then really going back to shenanigans, like because like we will walk into like this council meeting, like her and Umbra's like fighting over apples, and let me just get a bite, and just being like total like kids, and anime like dragging like because I think at one point like I bit onto the apple, and she was like dragging me around the council. But yeah, this going from that like who are these dipshits to dropping heads on tables
of important people that I think it was also like it was mainly it was because one, it was because of Fletch's obviously just wanted to take a trophy in a way, but it was also like proof that we killed this guy because we were asked, hey, can you stop this guy, capture him, kill them or whatever, and we're like, oh no, we're killing him. And here's the proof, toss his head.
And unfortunately this is where it led to like of course where we get to the pettiness for you guys, but I think when we passed through Baldur's Gate or the other city for the first time, that's when they started like testing us. And it was like, oh, we got to see if you guys are worthy.
So it was actually at the beginning of the caravan arc that happened. Yeah. And that's when they we're going to test their speed, their strength, their other shit, or their aim. I don't remember. And we're like...
So they fought or arm wrestled Zamrakar, whatever they did. They was like, oh, like, can you outshoot our, marksman archer? And this guy had, sharpshooter at the time, so he didn't have disadvantage, and I had disadvantage. And I beat him. He was like, do you want to go another round? I'm like, I don't have to fight you. But this is where the pettiness started, because there was that dwarf challenging us and oh, you need to test before we can consider you guys. So when you guys came, the person that was saying, hey, you guys take these two people with you, that was the same guy that tried to test us. So that's
Yeah.
unfortunately where Fletch was like, I don't know. These recruits got to like prove themselves. So
Yeah.
like
I knew
That's
that was
where
the
that
start
that's
of
where that pettiness came from, basically. They're like, oh, these guys have the gall to test us, even though we've accomplished so many fucking things. Like, have they not read our resume?
And who knows if you guys proved yourselves?
No, yeah.
Still up in the air.
Yeah. For the new recruits.
No.
That's why to this day, when Renford's an old man and Fletch goes up to him and was like, "Sup, recruit."
Like Tom saying, like Twinkle Toes, like I'm 40 years old.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, Twinkle Toes.
You're still Twinkle Toes to me, Twinkle Toes. But for at least for Kenny, for so far, is like I guess have you had any thoughts of like the chapter so far, or like favorite parts, favorite like things you would have changed, anything like that?
Well, I mean, of course, the favorite part is you guys' role play and reaction to things. So,
But the best reaction, though.
I say there were a few other times of things that I could have thrown at you, like since you're going on to Castle Neratar, there were 2 other dragons in that part in that chapter that I could have just.
Yeah, it was totally mentioned that there were 2 twin black dragons like overhead when entering the swamp.
Mm.
And we're like, yeah, it was like the similar vein of the first chapter of like, the blue dragon overhead. So it was just like cinematic basically, and it's just like never saw them again.
Yep.
Yes, that was
The module doesn't even give you the stats for those 2 because it's like, yeah, we're not doing that.
I'm going to imagine that one of those twins were the ones at the end.
I totally
and
thought
then
it
the
was.
other one was like, fuck that.
Fuck this, we're out. Because like the black dragon that showed up with the blue dragon, like that, that's my exact thought, was like it was one of the twins.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was just like, yeah, that was just a cinematic thing or whatever. I think there was just at least for this this portion of the chapter, it was just like a lot of combat stuff and us just like fucking sniping the shit out of things, and eventually like we did end up finding one of the lizard folks. I don't know if that was a random encounter or part of the module, like found us and was like, hey, we don't want to hurt you, we're just like literally under the thumb of these assholes, and they also have these I forget what the race was called, like basically the mortal enemies of lizard folk.
Kuatoa?
The Kuatoa, the toad people.
Oh, those guys.
No, was it Kuatoa? Or, yeah, it's like the frog. I don't know.
It was. I think it was Kuatoa because Evan like immediately recognized them, and he met the ice versions of them. But for us, we've already met that race before, and we already knew that they were just like they voluntarily like joined the cult.
Oh.
So that's why we're like, well, immediately die.
We're just having a crisis.
Yep. I was like, hey, maybe we could talk to these
bullywogs.
Bullywogs, that's what it was. Okay.
The
The bullywogs. So, these lizard folk kind of like asked us for help to get the other lizard folk out. And it was that one moment. I think this is when Fletch asked Zamrakar, hey boss, how do you want to handle this? And
because I'm like, man, I don't want to like completely like just control, because it was like, again, the voice of the party and stuff like that, and I didn't want to be like, hey, we plan this, and kind of take all the fun from everyone else.
Yeah.
So like in character, I'm like, okay,
there's the 2 black dragon names.
she's going to fall back and want to like flirt with Umbra in battle, and I think this is where we started flirting like in battle. And I was like, hey, and I looked to Hanu. I'm like, how are we going to handle this, boss? And you're like, well, my first plan is to make Zamrakar boss. So then Fletch was like, all right, what's your plan, boss? Are we just going to run in, for the first time, not take this, strategically? I think we're strong enough and stuff. Like, whatever you want to do. And Zamrakar being Zamrakar is like, yeah, let's fuck this up. So
Is this the part where we like
Oh.
some kind of
Gotcha.
left the plot behind because we were taken somewhere else by
Yeah.
accident?
yeah,
Okay.
through the portal.
Yeah,
Oh
Because
yeah.
we wanted to explore upstairs. And I think this is also where we found a bunch of books that we end up giving to Saevel later.
That's where the books came from for the ones that Penumbra gave to you, Saevel. Was this castle?
Because the module was like, here's a bunch of wizard stuff. They don't have a wizard.
No, yeah. So that's why I was like surprising when we took those books and then found out those books didn't give wizard shit. Like, wait, what? I thought this is why we took these, is like to sell them or just to because they were worth a lot. And then lo and behold, there's an actual wizard in this fucking module now. Let's give them to him. Oh, they don't have spells. Well, fuck.
Yeah, so we essentially like stormed this stronghold.
Yeah.
And just literally just going through fucking shit up.
This is when we found out Fletch was a masochist.
Not mask. It's just a little pain.
Just a little
I'm
just
like,
little claws in the skin.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, cool. I was like, I'm liking this. Everyone's getting a little bit more involved. Like Brawley, and Zamrakar is like leading the front lines. Hanu's just blasting away. I'm like, cool. Maybe I will, stand back and like RP during combat a little bit more. So Fletch's Rune Knight stuff, Giant Smite. I was like, all right, I get big in this one room. And I was blocking people. I'm like, damn, wait, she has a climbing speed. I was like, Umbra, like, climb up on my shoulder and start shooting from it. And then and then he was like, Umbra, her claws come out and like start digging into her flesh and like start climbing up. And I was like, and I just typed it in like Fletch bites her lip.
I'm like, oh my god.
No.
Fletch,
But,
you're so embarrassing. Keep it in your pants.
Or sliding underneath.
Oh,
Or
right.
sliding underneath Fletch.
Looks up.
Yeah. Snooze.
Nice.
Yeah, it was that. So it was just like shenanigans, and it was just like fun, shenanigans.
Mhm.
We're setting lizard folk free. Kenny's fighting himself. With lizard folk and cultists and bullywogs and whatnot. And we're just going through this.
We just fucking
messing
cleaned that
everything
place up. Holy shit.
I think we saw one high-ranking cultist and like killed him. And we just like kept going. And this is where it started getting sad because we were just killing bullywogs left and right. And we make our way down because one of them runs down. We kill that bullywog. And then Kenny is like, oh, there's a pool of tadpoles in here. We're like, fuck.
Like, well, we killed all the parents.
It's very similar to the young
snakes.
Ty later on.
Yeah. No,
I was thinking that
we
too.
got flashbacks from that. Don't you worry. We had that similar like, fuck. Why do we keep on fucking killing parents? And just Penumbra feeling worse and
we kill
worse.
everybody, so statistically,
Yeah.
Thankfully, Hanu did not have the staff of fire then. Probably
Yeah.
dropped the fireball on him.
Well,
But
I
that's where
mean,
we could have went upstairs, because Kenny
Yeah.
rubbed it in when we went through the portal. He's like, "Will you jump in the portal or will you not?" And we were like, "Oh shit, it's about to close." So we jumped through the portal. But he was like, "Yep," and you guys left all this treasure up there.
Yep.
Could have had like 7,000 gold.
could have had all this, and I'm like, well, too
Like-
fucking bad because we were on. Well, no, because like what happened with the tadpole thing was like we literally just went from cleaning up the whole entire castle. So we're like, either we took a long rest or no, we took a short rest, and then that's when like we failed our perception check, and a couple bullywogs got away. And because they knew that we were there, and then told who we were after, and then they jumped into the portal. And then after our short rest, we realized, oh fuck, they took off. So then we were like, okay, grab it with what we can. And Penumbra grabbed a book, and then we immediately jumped to the portal. And that's when Kenny is like, oh yeah, in that dude's room, you missed out on all this treasure, guys. And we're like, man, fuck you. No,
I'm pretty sure as well. So my head canon is all those lizard folk that we took over. This. They definitely ate the tadpoles. So.
No, yeah, they fucking devoured. Because I mean, they went like when they were murdering things, they would eat the bodies of the bullywogs. So they were like cannibal and stuff.
A goldfish.
I actually wrote
Basically.
it in that they took over the castle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because like we went through and the plot is all the way over there on the map,
I've actually
and
got
we're
a
over here.
question for Ant.
Mhm.
You mentioned like at some point you had acquired, or in the story just told, you had that giant thing you could turn into a giant.
Uh-huh.
Is that a class ability or is that an item you had?
Yes, is
Rune
class
Knight.
ability.
Okay.
Rune Knight stuff is loaded. Like you get a bunch of passive abilities, you get a bunch of active abilities on
So
short rest.
that was the
You
other thing.
get-
Not only did he play as not an arcane archer, he also played as not a rogue. So that's like also where the competitive nature of Penumbra and Fletch came from, because like Penumbra being an actual rogue, and then Fletch just having these passive things that gave him basically rogue-like abilities.
Picking locks.
Like we would
Yeah.
just compete in like, okay, you pick that lock, I pick this lock. First one to complete the thing wins, or something like that. And then and just like that's where that stemmed from.
Okay, gotcha.
But also, like, I think we knew who we were chasing after, correct, in the castle, or found out who was in the castle. Who was like a major target on Fletch's list, which the name is escaping me, but a certain black dragonborn.
Resmir.
Yeah,
Resmir.
Yep, Resmir. And he's the one who took the portal, and that's where the portal leads us off to
Chapter 7.
the hunting lodge.
Ooh.
So, yeah. So what's funny is that there was not a single combat to be had here.
Because of backstory stuff.
Backstory stuff, because like I've heard from this module, like if you do not go with the that bond, or that thing, well, I'm just kind of skipping ahead. So this section is basically where we ran into Talus. We were like curious of like, okay, should we break, because we just popped out of a portal at this place, so we're like, is Resmir in there? Who the fuck's in there? What's like, what are we gonna find? Kind of like more or less enter, and or like kind of peek around, couldn't really find enough information, and then someone just opened the door, or I'm trying to remember how we like proceeded. Yeah,
because it was cold and it was snowing. We went from a humid, kind of swamp area to, cold. And I put on some clothes, and I knew we were chasing people. So Fletch still had her cultist clothes and her cultist
oh, that's right.
emblem. So she knocked on the door, and was disguising like, hey, I'm, the head of this small little sector, whatever you want to call them. We're cold, we're traveling. Can we please, be let in? And pass like deception checks, and we got let in.
Yeah.
And they were like feeding us, and they thought we're cultists, whatnot.
and
I forgot we were asking around,
mm-hmm.
And I forgot how Talus's name got brought up, but we found out Talus was
yeah, it was like one of them said, "Oh,
the boss would like to meet you."
The boss would like, or like, well, first it was like, we'll talk to our boss.
Set it up or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I found out it was like, I think I found out like someone told me it was like Talus, and I set up the meeting, and I remember we were kind of still going undercover there, because I remember when we finally went up. And this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but I remember when we finally went up to meet her. Fletch sent a letter to her. It was like, I have a certain friend, and I was kind of like describing and putting hints here and there of what Umbra looks like.
Yeah, I think you also like asked what would Talus realize that it's Penumbra that's like this friend, and I don't remember what I specifically said, but it was like a friend you saved, or something like to that effect.
Yeah,
to tip it off.
And and I asked them to give that letter to her. So when they got that letter, that's when you sent it back down to like, hey, our boss would like to meet you.
Which I skipped so much in this chapter because of the backstory stuff.
Yep. And then, well, there was also a little part of like us, because you gave us a moment of like waiting for like them to give an answer, and like in a way another short rest, because I don't remember if there was like other stuff that was happening or like that before we got here that we needed another short rest, or it's just like, hey, just explore the lodge. But I do remember like Penumbra being so anxious to like see Talus and make sure she's okay, and to also make sure that she's not like a prisoner here or being under like forced to be here. So she like tried to sneak out of the lodge and like tried to like climb up the side to go to whatever window that like Talus's office was, and going through the fucking front door and it being trapped. And me failing the saving throw for it, and it was two statues of like two elven statues that like if you fail the save for it, it immediately freezes you in place. So like Penumbra just immediately gets caught, and then the dude who's just like shows up and is like, oh shit, I'm sorry, I forgot to turn these off, and it's just like lets her go because we're technically guests now. And I was like, yeah, or just like wrote into things like, yeah, I'm going out for like for some air or something, didn't know this was a thing, be back later. And they're like, neat, go ahead. And I'm like, walks away. Walk up with climbing speed to look through a window, see Talus is okay, walk back in, found Fletch, and then Fletch also like actually like Anthonie, what was like going through Fletch's mind during this section?
It was one of those things where it's like, hey, I have feelings for someone, but I want the best for her. This is her goal, to meet this person. But at the same time, it feels like I'm handing over someone I care about. And at that time, it's like, damn, like after she lost everything, she's thinking like I could potentially lose someone else. Like if, Umbra decides to like stay here and not, go anywhere, there was always that potential that, she was scared to lose, another person she cared about.
And then Penumbra came back, and then you asked her, like, basically just straight up asked her, I was like, who was Talus to you? And then...
yeah, because she's always been avoiding, that question from before, stuff like that. So.
And then... and then my answer, which led to, like, the art thing that I did, where I was like, Talus might have given me a second chance, but you made that life worth living.
Aww.
And then hug. And then that's where that scene of just like it's cold, cuddle up, head on Penumbra's shoulder, and then they basically like passed out for like a couple hours because we were still waiting for Talus to like talk to us.
And then Hanu froze to death.
Because I think Zamrakar and Hanu were just eating in the kitchen and whatever, and then I think we also had Ilmeg like go through like the other rooms, and then he just found 2 fucking health potions in the head of a deer head thing that was just like put in the lodge, and it was just randomly there for reasons. But then eventually we got up to Talus and heartfelt, like I think that was also the first time Penumbra like talked physically, and just like with a broken voice, kind of just like or Talus was like, who are you, like tell me who you guys are, and then Penumbra takes off her hood and this is like in a broken voice says, a friend.
And Talus immediately dismisses her guards and says that they wish to speak to him in private, and then as soon as the guards are left, just tackles.
Fucking hug, yeah, just...
I keep appearances.
Yep. And then she just proceeds to tell us that she's still kind of like part of the cult, but like kind of the original aspect of the cult, but she didn't... It was weird.
There was kind of like 3 different sects. There was like Fletch's sect of the cult where they worship, I guess kind of like worship dragons, kind of push them up and stuff like that. But wasn't trying to bring like Tiamat back or anything like that.
They just worship dragons in general. Yeah.
Then there is, the actual cult, which is trying to bring Tiamat back through any means, and a lot of it was violent
Forcibly,
means,
yeah.
rape and stuff. And then there's Talus, where she was trying to bring Tiamat back, but not through, those violent means.
Is like if you worship Tiamat, bring offerings and such and such, and basically the peaceful route of like bringing back Tiamat, which is still bringing back a death god, but but at the time it was like I'm assuming for you, Kenny, that was just like, okay, how do I make Talus good?
Yep.
I was like, okay, I'm just gonna say this is she's just trying to do this, and she's not an actual like full member of the cult. She's like trying to do her own thing.
Yep.
Also, she's a little jealous that she got fucking kicked from being a one of the worm speakers.
Yeah.
So and so yeah, it was just like that type of thing, and then we just kind of asked her, is like, where is I keep on forgetting his name. The fucking dude, Rezmir. I was like, where's Rezmir? Where's he heading? And then she told us, and it's like, can you help us in any way? And gave us a couple magic items. And another funny thing is like she
she also wanted us, because she was still jealous, but she also wanted us to kill someone.
Yeah, that's the white worm speaker that we killed like later, or well, she killed.
Yeah.
So it was that guy, but yeah, originally she was like asked us, "Hey, can you kill this guy for us if you ever run into him?" And then we totally was like, "Fucking another one on the list. Let's go." But yeah, the funny thing is like the magic items that were in this lodge. Guess who they're meant for? A fucking wizard. And guess what we didn't have in the party at the time? A fucking wizard. So we're like, nah, you keep it. We can't use it for shit. And I mean, we could take it to sell it. I think it was like a staff of winter or something like that, but I think it was originally like Talus's staff or something. Like that's what her weapon was. So the funny thing about this chapter and what I've heard about this chapter is that like basically if you don't have her as a bond, she's just another cultist that's just going to try to kill you. Or if you talk to her, she's just she is that introduction to there are different there's like politics to the cult. And people trying to like get to the high point or become a worm speaker, and Talus is one of the ones that could have been a worm speaker but didn't make it. But honestly, like if a player doesn't give a shit about this character, she's just a speed bump that just like you just kill her, take her shit, and just keep going.
I'll tell you, I literally skipped all the encounters and all the random rooms within this chapter.
We literally just got to explore it. Yeah, just because people say is like if you don't have that bond and don't have like that connection, which can make it interesting, which it did. Literally skip this chapter because it's just like unless you have an idea of like exploring like the politics and possibly getting Talus as an ally or like an inside source. Then that's where you can use her kind of thing. But other than that, and if you don't think the party's gonna do that type of shit, literally just skip it because there's literally no point to it. But yeah,
there are some points that we didn't get to that are kind of interesting for like just random story bits for different things for different modules and things like that throw out. Like some of the NPCs you could have rescued in the lodge.
Oh. Well, we didn't know there were.
Out of cult clothing.
Yep. But then that leads to the final chapter of part 1.
And before Zane and Evan join. Yep. And this was one where you find dragons are nothing to fuck with, and then 2, a sad farewell to Hanu.
Yeah.
Oh, not
Rest in
like
peace.
sad, but
I mean, almost.
You assholes didn't cry. Fuck you. But this one's kind of a long chapter because there's just so much fucking shit that happened. Just because like entering the town, because this is the floating castle arc basically.
Oh.
And before we even got to the castle, we had to like because it was touched down onto like to a city basically.
Village of Parnast.
Yep. And then that's where we were talking about like the whole bar scene. It was the building number 2. And that whole scene was just like, I think we've told you guys about it, where it was just like it was a bar basically full of possible civilians. We found out there was just most of them were cultists, or it was basically a trap setup for us. And Hanu fucking slept the whole entire building because those were just like normal NPC civilians. Killed all the cultists outside.
What was it, like 45 hit points worth of sleep,
Yep.
and all the NPCs have like
one HP each.
And one of the cultists turned into a tree.
Yeah, so they were in the building, and Fletch went with someone else to get information. So so I think we were either in we were in the building right below
4. Yeah.
And she saw.
I keep trying to click on the handout map like it's a regular map and ping on it.
And ping on it? No, I've done that like 5 times already.
But Fletch saw what was going on outside, and she relayed that information to Umbra through their scarf, the telepathic bond that they had. Like, hey, you guys are about to get ambushed in there. I'm gonna give you guys some cover and fire, of course, but we need to do something. So because the barkeep left, and then he came back with a bunch of cultists. That's when Hanu slept everyone, like the NPCs in there. And
if you guys get comfortable, I gotta go make a supply run, and just leaves to go get.
Yeah. So like I forgot what tipped it off, but I think they tried to struck first. And I think they hit Umbra. So like in character, I'm like, this fucking bitch. So Fletch pulled out her bow, shot someone, and because it was the grasping bow, with like vines and stuff, I think I natural 20'd it and killed him like with one shot.
You killed him with the natural 20, and part of one of the things I had for if you kill it with the natural 20 is it creates the vines grow within inside the target, and a tree sprouts in its place.
Nice.
So literally
Don Cheadle, Captain Planet.
So literally turned this motherfucker into a tree right there, and combat ensued, and we did what we do.
I always imagine there's a branch that looked like a hand trying to reach out.
Yeah, no, you could see his face in beside the tree or something.
Yeah, that's what I imagined.
I think we were going to name the bar after that tree too. I forgot what it was.
That was the plan.
Yeah.
Because like after we took care of them, the people were still sleeping, and again we do what we do. Besides killing, we looted the place and took the deed to the bar, and we're like, "Yep, this is ours now."
I would like to believe that.
That's how that works.
Yeah, I'd like to believe that Ilmeg, this is like where he came back to just to like run the bar for us.
Yeah. And then I think we knew that the castle was going to end up taking off, but I think it left a little bit earlier than we were supposed to do
because they got tipped off.
Yeah. So we ended up running up to where it says 3, and there were like flying drakes like left, so we like mounted it.
They were wyverns.
Wyverns, yeah.
Yep.
So then we started like this chase scene between flying castle and these wyverns. Which was pretty fun.
We never went back for those fucking wyverns. I want them back so bad.
Mm-hmm.
We fucking chased a castle on top of wyverns. That was like the coolest fucking dumb shit we've ever done. I'm pretty sure the castle was still touched down.
We were like shooting back. Yeah.
Yeah, or like we had like a couple options of like getting to the castle, but we chose the dumbest, just coolest option that we could think of. Like that's when we said fuck it.
Sometimes the dangerous but cool play is the way to go.
Oh no, yeah, and then just having the wyverns with us fighting was pretty awesome. Like hitting the top of the castle.
Yeah, because there was these ogres like shooting ballistas back at us, and essentially we were airdropping, to this place. And airdrop angry Zamrakar into the middle of a bunch of ogres. Hanu. Did Hanu jump off right away?
No, I think I was flying around for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then we went on. I know Fletch jumped in because I remember specifically like I was in melee combat with an ogre, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot him. He's like, it's at disadvantage. I'm like, yeah, I'm a sharpshooter. And then you like, well, let's see how the results are. And you hit it. He's like, that was pretty good. And he's like, you got some balls, like shooting a melee combat. But yeah, I remember like going up to there, and it was pretty fun. And I think
Hanu
we
shot one of them off of the ledge.
Yeah,
Yep.
We have no idea where he landed.
I think
he
either we
landed in the
did that.
courtyard because he was like really injured,
that's
limping
right.
away.
Yeah, that's right.
But we took over.
Did you happen to blast him off of one of the 6Bs, hits the wall, lands in the courtyard, and he's limping, and I think that's what ends up setting the alarm off.
Yeah, because it was like 6B and 6A was when we landed.
It's pretty awesome because like I think we were at 6B. We cleared off one of the like pads, and like Zamrakar ripped off the ballista and like turned it to the other side, and like it was like shooting to from that.
And then after we cleaned up 6B, because unfortunately the wyverns were pretty hurt because they just took ballista after ballista to the face. Luckily we didn't lose any of them, but especially us being in the air. That's when we moved to 9, and that was like a weird portion of the module where it's just like they just had a vampire person just chained up for reasons. We killed all the cultists, let them go, and then they started helping kill them. And then we're like, okay, we're cool, right? We're cool. We don't have to fight you, right? And I was just like, yeah, we're cool. And then we kind of move on. Eventually, like we cleaned up the rest of that lower courtyard, came back for a short rest. The vampire was gone, and so were all the dead bodies.
Yeah, we're like, we unleashed his vampire. Oh well.
And then just moved on with our lives. I was like, hopefully we were just cool with them, and next time we run into them, they owe us a favor or something. Never ran into them ever again.
This is also where like because we cleaned them up, and this is where Fletch finally got to use her giant because there were giants nearby.
Oh, that's right. It was in 10.
Yeah. So.
As far as the vampire, that was also Kenny deciding, I don't want to fight them with this vampire that has legendary actions.
Hey, man.
We were built to fuck.
We were built. We were built different.
But yeah, this is like I used my giant form, which is only like a large, and then I was able to actually speak giant for like the first time, to something. I'm like, yes, because Fletch was having a ball here. Because I went up to the giants, and I'm like, hey, they cursed me to be in this smaller form, and I can only hold this for a little bit. And they believed her. Then they started giving her like additional gems and stuff and like helping out. And then they were like fighting for us and stuff because we came across some drakes and they just came through and just messed up these drakes and then went back and then cooked them up to eat.
Were you the one, Anthonie, that was obsessed with like, was it a hippogriff, a griffin?
Oh, there was a griffin in the kitchen.
Oh yeah,
And it was like
saying I want to fly it.
Yeah, it just so happened to be a pet to one of the main giants. And then Fletch is like, I want to fly, fly on that.
I think it's always been my dream.
Yeah, I think it was in room 15, and it was just like a bunch of kobolds in there just feeding it, and also just scared out of their minds. And we found out, oh, they're just prisoners. We're not going to kill these guys, and just let them go.
And that's where you guys found the big box of spice.
Yep, and then just fucking stole that shit. We just stole everything in there and like 100 gold worth of spice or some shit. And I'm like, neat. And then yeah, Fletch talked to the giants and convinced them to give us the fucking was it sapphires?
Yeah, it was just a bunch of gems.
The gems that were worth like 300, 600 each or something.
Yeah. They got, like,
we were making the monies.
But this also led to Rezmir, because from 15,
What happened in there, guys?
we went up to 11, and that was fun. Because we went in, opened the door, saw Rezmir, and Fletch was like, "Fucking kill."
Yep.
That's all we're gonna do. We were going to murder you.
I was gonna say real fast. The one best thing about that door, Kenny, what was the DC on the lock on that thing? If you remember,
non-existent to us.
Have to look.
It was either a DC 20 or a DC 25.
Yeah, it was pretty high.
And then guess who rolled the natural 20 to fucking unlock that bitch?
Oh, the door was a DC 25 dex check using thieves' tools.
And then I got either exactly 25 or 26, and it's just like feel that moment in Kenny. I was like, son of a bitch.
That's beautiful.
Because yeah, it's either we're supposed to find the key and all this bullshit, and then come back and unlock it, and then find him, or he would have just gone.
If you did have a wizard, the knock spell immediately opens the door as well.
Fuck you.
That's my opinion here. Is like you gotta have a wizard on this campaign.
Basically, that's why when your character showed up, Zane, I was like, man, Zane, your character's gonna love this campaign because they're gonna give you all the cool shit. Because they've been trying to give us cool shit, but only for wizards.
But it was pretty awesome because we opened the door, basically saw Rezmir, and Fletch was gonna go and kill him, but we rolled initiative. Zamrakar was first, so he rushed in, and so there was Rezmir, there was this blue drake on the ground, and apparently, what we found out, there was this animated rug. So as as Zamrakar ran in, this animated rug was trying to do an attack and grapple and try to start suffocating Zamrakar. And Fletch cloud ruined it and put it onto the Drake because all the attacks and the effects of the attack transfers over. So it wrapped up this blue Drake. They were still kind of tough at this point. Wrapped up this blue Drake and started suffocating it from there. So it literally took 3 combatants down to 1 combatant against us, just from her cloud rune. And Rezmir, started getting beat up by Zamrakar, but then cast like darkness in the room. And I forget
It was Ilmeg that dispelled it.
Yeah.
Basically, he had so many bag of tricks that he was trying to like escape with, and then we just countered every single one of them.
Yeah.
And literally just stomping this guy into the corner, and they got the killing blow.
I think one of the coolest parts in that as well was like he actually turned invisible, as well as one of his other tricks, and then I think it was Fletch that like just shot randomly in the room and either also just straight up hit him.
Randomly.
Just it's like we have no idea where he ran. It's either he's here or here, and then Fletch just shot an arrow into basically like invisible target and nailed him.
Yeah.
Tried to run away. I was like, nah, sleep, bitch.
The 2 go-to moves from Hanu, fucking sleep bitch, or fucking I be blasting.
But so I think Kenny gave us the option. He was like, what do you do? I'm like, she kills him. And I don't know if it was more of a module thing. They got to progress the story. But was looking for where the black mask was, because that was the one that was stolen from her family. And essentially, why her family was attacked and killed, because they were being good, rather than trying to summon Tiamat. So where the mask was stored, it like teleported back to the Well of Dragons. So she's like just pissed and just like laying arrow into after arrow into this dead body. And again gets petty, cuts his head off, puts it in a bag, and end up like, damn, like Gael was like, you all right? I'm like, just let me have this. Can we take the rug with us, because it's like still smothering the blue drake.
The blue
The blue
drake.
drake just kept failing its saves, even though it was like pretty hardy, but kept failing its saves, so it ended up getting suffocated to death. And Kenny allowed Gael, the genie, to essentially take this magic carpet into the ring. So it was pretty awesome.
And that's also where Brawley got his cursed sword that wants to kill things.
Yep. Yeah, that was Reznir's sword.
Yeah. So I think we rested in there, and Fletch was still like pretty down
we
because
fucking closed that door and locked it because that had a 25 AC. There's nothing getting in there.
And the alarms were still going off, I believe.
Yep.
So she was like, damn, like it was within my grasp. My family's thing that they got killed over. It was within my grasp, and it's going. So she was pretty pissed off. So she was the first one to leave the room. And there was like 2 higher ups kind of like waiting for us there, and then a bunch of other cultists, and she ended up taking a blast from one of them. But we ended up cleaning them up.
So you want to know what else was in that chest if you did manage to find a way to open the chest without killing Reznir?
What was in the chest?
So not only was the Black Dragon mask in the chest, if you managed to get it open without Reznir being died, because it was linked to his life, that it teleports all of its contents. But it had the Black Dragon mask as well as a collection of gems, jewelry, and coins. The gems and jewelry include a set of peridot stones on a gold chain worth 400 gold, a silver talked dragon's head which worth another 200 gold, 6 moonstones of 50 gold, a set of 20 loose pearls worth a total of 3,000 gold, and then there's 600 silver, 200 gold, and 50 platinum.
Damn, the 3,000 gold was, sucks. Are you telling me I could have had a bunch of stones for fucking element or the charms? Damn it.
I mean, honestly, we still got it in the end.
No, yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, Spoiler alert.
But yeah, after we cleaned up those guys in like outside of 11, and that was the first time we were I forget what those cultists were like, the wings, fangs. I forget
ones that could shoot fire.
Yeah, the ones that could shoot like a beam of fuck you energy. I'm like, oh fuck, these guys are hit like trucks. What the shit? But yeah, we cleaned them up, and then that's when we went to room 12, and then that's when we met the 2 wizards. Which
probably Dragon Soul or Dragon Wing. I think it's probably Dragon Wings.
Probably Dragon Wings. I'm trying to find this. Let's see, 12.
Nope, it was Dragon Souls.
Oh, I remember 12 now.
Yeah, that's when we fucking comboed the shit out of this art group in the Red Wizards room. Let's see, Wrath Modar and Asbara-Jas.
Yeah, did not cut their heads off too.
Yeah, that's when we fucking comboed as a group.
These are the heads that
and they tried to jump. They tried to jump out the window.
Yeah, and just fly.
These are. I remember Fletch rushed over, shot him, and then they got eaten by the dragon that was flying outside. But these are the heads of when we first met Saevel and Renford. These are the heads of those people that we dropped onto the table.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, Wrath Modar was actually like important, supposed to be an important character to the module. And in the final fight, if he was still alive, he would actually be one of the wizards channeling the ritual. and he would be like, one of the main reasons why it would be faster to succeed, or just another extra challenge to like that fight, because he had certain spells and things that would have made it more difficult to stop the ritual.
He died like a bitch.
Instead, he died like a bitch. First, it was Penumbra doing an assassination shot, forcing him to use his reaction to cut the damage in half. Then Zamrakar got up to him and basically
with a new sword,
cut him again, and then made sure that like if he tried to run away, he would just take an opportunity attack. And then Hanu basically like used sleep on him, but he used his reaction to half the damage from Penumbra's attack, so he couldn't counterspell it. And so he fucking fell asleep. And then either that or because there was two wizards there, so I think either Zamrakar like chopped down the other dude to a point where his health was also shit. And
I think I action surged another one.
And then just immediately shot that one down. And then or got him low enough to where Hanu just slept both of them. And then we just walked up to them and just slit their throats and cut their heads off.
That's sick.
Originally we captured them, tied them up, and like, okay, it would be important for these guys to stay alive so they could give us information, but we still have
going back and forth, and Fletch was like, nope.
Yeah, and we're just like, we kind of like basically figured there's, these guys are too important, and we can't keep an eye on them. They're also magic; they can probably just escape. So we just killed them, and then that's when Kenny told us, if you guys left them there, they would have escaped.
Here's his character sheet. He had all these spells that didn't even get a chance to cast because they killed him before he even got a turn on the initiative.
Yep.
Beautiful. Like a bitch.
Died like a bitch. I think that's where is that where that started from, or was that like also like no, I think that started from like Bodluck, maybe. It was like because he was just such a no name, and it's just like we killed him in one turn, and it was like he died like a bitch, because I think he even tried to make a run for it too.
Yeah.
And it was like, we just shot him just shot him down immediately, and just like, he died like a bitch. And then that's
which, by the way, Frank and Reggie now know the reason why I started doing that is literally because of Hellsinger Bridge.
Died like a bitch.
Yeah.
Died like a bitch.
And this is where Reggie would get his Staff of Fire.
Yep, because this dude had the Staff of Fire. But,
the most important thing that happened in the entire campaign.
What truly led Hanu down his dark path of conquest. And
I love the idea of like a scaredy turtle becoming like a progressive.
Fucking the real BVG of the fucking. But
it was pretty cool because we were in the lower courtyard and we went upstairs essentially to the upper courtyard. And there was ogres on top of ogres on top of ogres, and that's where we were like just being a team. Zamrakar and Ilmig was up front with like the shield of arrow catching, and they're tanking, and Hanu getting just a load of power, dropping walls of fire.
Do you remember, Kenny, how many of them there were?
There were at least 18.
Ogres with like, was it 100 or 80 health each or something like that?
Oh man,
I don't remember how much ogres HP were, but we fought all 18 at once and came out with like not much of any scratches, to be honest.
Yeah, because we were just into it. We give Zamrakar super resistance.
Just warding bond plus rage. You just cut it and have resistance on top of resistance, like Anthonie said.
They each had 59 hit points.
59. Okay, that's still a chunky. Like those are chunky boys at 18. That level. Yeah, 18 times 50.
Oh, not plus.
Yeah, I was saying if Rathmondor managed to get a turn, he could have just globed him invulnerability, and then none of you could have really hit him with anything under 5th level.
Because we could have still tried. Yeah, I was gonna say we could have cast a spell just to see if we can break it, because I think if it's below level 5, it's a roll. But yeah, I mean he's stuck there.
No, it's
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
It just
can't
pops it.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So yeah, it just...
But, I mean, we weren't casting spells anyway. We ain't had no wizards.
no, yeah.
Yeah, we were going in and cutting people and stabbing. So and blasting.
Moral of the story is play a wizard in Tyranny of Dragons.
Yeah.
Right, Zane?
Party wizards.
Yep.
But that was pretty fun. So we finally like got through all of those ogres, and then I forgot what tipped us off to get to the control room. And this is where y'all found out.
I think we were just slowly
really
cleaning out everything, and then eventually got to the 22 area, and that's when we met the leader of the Giants, and then him just fuck these cultists. And then we cleaned them up, or they were trying to kill him, and then we helped him. And then it was like, hey, talk to my wife. She's at the helm in Area 19. Who's currently a ghost or something. It's real weird.
Currently a ghost, like he will stop being a ghost later.
Yeah. There is one cultist that did get away though. In Area 21 or area some other shit that just got the fuck away.
I don't think so. I remember chasing him.
No, he took the teleporter. Yeah.
I remember I chased him through the teleporter and was shooting.
I'm pretty sure.
I believe he was one of the reasons why the
No, so remember, out of character, we knew that a guy got through, but in character, we failed our perception checks to see what was in that room, and then eventually when we got there, where we realized there's a teleporter, and it was shit that that dude just fucking bounced.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, that's the one guy.
Sequel.
Yeah, exactly. The one, the real, it was the guy who made it out. It's just I'll come back for revenge. You killed all my comrades.
Grew up D-Severin.
Yeah.
He died like a bitch.
Yeah. He'll die the same, like a bitch. But yeah, I talked to the guy, his wife, the ghost wife in 19, and then there were levers.
This is unfortunately where you guys found out that Fletch really likes runes.
Yeah.
There's a rune that does this, a rune that does that.
This was it's a funny thing, from the poison statue to from when later on when Zamrakar threw the grenade at fucking Evan and Zane's characters, and me and Anthonie were like, oh, they're getting initiated into the group finally. Zamrakar killing them with an explosion.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
We're still in there.
Yeah. So this one was Fletch. And in my defense, I have something that, Rune Knights, they level up to level 7 Rune Knight, they can get the Storm Rune.
Yep.
It said Storm Rune in Giant.
Yep. Maybe I could get it early.
I definitely thought that's what Kenny. I'm like, Kenny's treat me all nice. No, Kenny's treat me.
I can feel Kenny go are you sure about this?
I'm like, yes. I want the Storm Rune. Why would I not want, advantage and reactions and stuff? And I pressed it, and I believe a lot of people. I think Fletch passed her save pretty epically, but and I think Umbra
kind of did, but yeah, or I either took half damage, or I either failed it but only took half damage because of evasion or uncanny dodge.
Yeah,
I think I had to uncanny dodge it because I failed my save.
Yeah, so it went from that to Fletch spinning the castle extremely fast. And then I forgot who dragged Fletch. Yeah, after getting struck by lightning, I forgot who dragged Fletch off of the controls.
I think it was Zamrakar, because it was funny because Brawley himself was just because the best part about this is the next fight was the dragon fight. Mm-hmm. And the best way to start before starting that fight was getting struck by fucking lightning, losing 20 HP or an extra half of our HP. And then just like, and then Zamrakar and Brawley were just like, he was hyped for it. I was like, okay, no, get off of it before we kill ourselves before this epic fight, or go in all nerfed or damaged, pre-damaged, because you keep on pressing buttons, you little shit.
I was like, ooh, spin. What kind of rune is Kenny about to give me?
Yeah. Oh my god.
You were ruined.
It was literally DD. It just like, ooh, what's this button do? But then that's
Zap.
this is a fucking zap. So we took a short rest, and then either that or no, we had to heal ourselves because we were told that the castle was dropping. And so we're just like, okay, we drank whatever potion, or Ilmeg kind of gave us whatever healing to top us off, and then we walked into the main vault.
Yeah, which I roleplayed that the dragon was smashing the crystal that holds the castle aloft.
Yeah, and we had a fly cast on us, and we were like flying into the area, basically like rushing to fight this white dragon in its lair.
And then everything worked out, and nothing bad ever happened.
Yep.
I think
no one became a popsicle.
Nope. I don't want. Not a tiny little turtle.
Man, I would have loved to go back and see the damage, like what could have, like basically what could have been possibly the first character down in this whole thing if the dice told a different story.
Close. I think you were like really low, like literally in single digits. It was probably like 4 HP or something from one ice breath.
And you're like at full health too, weren't you, Reggie?
I think so.
Yeah, it was just like that holy shit moment. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and then instantly Misty escaped.
Yep, Misty, like you ran, Misty stepped, and got the fuck out of there. Fucking 54 damage straight to the face.
Oh yeah, I remember. It was like either roll or just take the straight damage.
Yep. And yeah,
and I think I just took the damage instead of risking like an actual death.
I swear it was just like, you just had to make the roll.
My max is 56.
Was it?
Well, yeah, it was something like extremely close.
Yeah, I think we had. Oh, you mean like the damage dice itself? Yeah, it was like something like we asked us like, hey, just roll for it just in case it gets lower, and it almost was higher. I was like, never mind, let's take the average. But yeah, that was like potentially the closest like of a character just getting one shot in this whole entire campaign. But yeah, I think that fight lasted. That fight lasted like maybe 2 or 3 rounds. Because it was just like it was one of those moments. Was like we kind of spread out. Zamrakar went in face first in front of it, and then Hanu like basically did like one of the most important jobs and surviving that dragon breath hit to the face. Because if it was against the whole party, or at least like 2 to 3 members, that would have sucked. That would have probably been.
It kind of was, but I think everyone passed it and was in better cover because he was like.
He was in a tunnel. Yeah.
Yeah, and the blast came into the tunnel, and I think it
that motherfucker just went there right after.
He fucking.
I was like, hello.
If I remember right, he like put his head into the tunnel and just blew.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So it was just Hanu that took that damage. Because it was directed straight at him.
Yeah, and I knew I was playing peekaboo as well. But,
around that corner.
I was out of the area.
And then I'm trying to remember if Penumbra was just out, like, more or less in the open, because either that or me and you were playing peekaboo with that same thing, or, I just tried to pick a different area, because if it decided to fly towards us, that's both of us screwed.
The result was 53.
Yeah.
So it was one less than, like, just taking the straight damage.
Yeah,
that's right. Really close.
Yeah. Did you go back all the way in the logs, or where did you find that?
Yeah, in the chat logs.
Oh my god, that's right. We never reset it, so it's all the way back in.
Yeah, so what
Holy
I did
shit.
is like show everything and then like look for 12d8.
Yeah, because I remember I think Umbra made her way in because your cannies or whatever uncanny
Mhm.
stuff, to be able to like move and hide and things. And I think because of the state of Hanu, I can't remember if Fletch tried to push in or tried to remain near Hanu just in case he went down.
He went down, yeah.
So, but yeah, it was a good fight.
Managed to
Rounds.
take down the dragon, but the crystal was still majorly damaged, and with the help of both a Warlock patron and a Genie, managed to repair the crystal, and they managed to get the massive hoard that the dragon had, as well as a flying castle.
And that's how we were able to afford our keep.
Mhm.
But yeah, after this, that's when I got control of the castle again. Giants gained control, and they also offered to help us against the fight against the dragons. And then basically
They
that
went
was
their own army,
yeah,
and then Reggie and Ilmeg both left the party to go train and be part of the giant army.
yeah,
And this is also important because I remember when Fletch got the hit on the dragon, the last hit.
the last hit.
We
Yeah,
also found the. This is where she started keeping track of them, but this is where we found our first dragon arrow.
yep.
Mhm.
Oh.
And this is when my collection began.
I think
To the late game shenanigans.
I think this is like we also got certain magic items from this one, but I can't. It was either like this is where Penumbra got the studded leather +1 as well, or it was just studded or just leather armor +1, and then we turned it into studded leather, and then there was like another like magical sword or something, and then I'm trying to remember where did Renford get the scimitar of speed?
I was thinking the scimitar came from this.
From this, yeah. So that's like it came from this horde because we gave it to Renford when he joined.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is where we
I
got that sword
forgot.
from. Was the
Okay.
horde was this dragon horde?
That quickly became his signature weapon.
Yep. Used for the rest of the the campaign.
Yeah. It was objectively the best weapon I ever had.
But swing with the bonus action.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then that's when we kind of like led off to the rise of Tiamat, and that was the end of the Horde of the Dragon Queen.
Yeah, because there was supposed to be a couple of months in
Mhm.
between.
Like
Because
flying
I
there.
remember, yeah. Well, because I
We had to go
remember
to Waterdeep.
saying that Fletch and Umbra, because a part of Fletch's pack was to like explore. Like
Mhm.
they basically traveled on foot back to Waterdeep, and I remember that
Yeah.
was going to take a couple of months. So that kind of like gave them their time. Hanu.
You guys were
needed
like
time to
literally
thaw
on the other side of the continent, so
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Hanu needed time to throw out and train. Let's get down to business time stuff.
even
Same thing with
though the
me.
castle flew, it does not fly very quickly.
Mhm.
Well, I think it was also said is that we needed to like if we wanted to fly faster, we could, but it's obviously more noticeable,
Mhm.
and then possibly we just get attacked in the air. But yeah,
Yeah, the cult has many dragons on their side, and flying castle isn't very stealthy.
yeah.
Mhm.
What were you saying, Anthony?
Mm. Yeah.
Penumbra and Fletch traveling and stuff like that.
Well, I remember that's where because it was a couple of months in
Mm-hmm.
between.
I gotta be right back, by the way.
No,
Yeah.
So you
gotcha.
guys can continue.
Yeah.
Between all of that, because that's where I had to keep a part of my pact was to explore, visit the sites of the material realms and stuff like that. And I guess that's also where the relationship would have grown between Fletch and Umbra.
Mhm.
Having kind of some alone time, having time to because that was the last person on Fletch's list, and she was basically recovering until the next part happens. And Hanu was doing his own thing. Ilmig was doing his own thing, and Zamrakar was kind of doing his own thing, for the meantime as well.
Yeah. And then Fletch
Hanu
then.
got married to a giant,
Yeah. I would believe it totally. And then Fletch would go to meet her truest arch nemesis,
Yeah.
a paladin named Renford. No, I'm just...
I just imagined the Smash Bros. Intro.
I was saying Fletch went from, ended up meeting her true arch nemesis, the paladin Renford.
He's on the list.
He's on the list.
On the list. You are the list.
Yeah. we'll have to discuss that relationship next time because it is getting pretty late for us, and but I guess closing thoughts of
it's a good stopping point on halfway.
Yeah. So closing thoughts is for the players who were part of this part of the campaign. Did you guys have any absolute favorite moments, or what do you guys think of this half of the campaign?
So there was a couple of different things, because I know Kenny.
Okay.
It was okay. I remember Kenny's post, hey, first time DM and stuff. So kind of seeing Kenny evolve as a DM, from at the beginning. Again, like he said, I was just kind of going with it, to incorporating people's backstories and incorporating a lot more, and having that whole caravan arc, really got us in depth and into it. And I told you guys before, that's literally the area where it went from, hey, I enjoyed this campaign, I enjoyed people, into getting more people more and more involved, and then it was like, yep, this is my favorite campaign to play within every week. So one, Kenny evolving as a DM, and then two, players opening up more and getting those actual character things where you start caring about people's characters, if they live, if they die, what's going to happen to them, are they going to get their backstory revenge and stuff like that. So I would say the caravan arc was a huge turning point for me as a player, and as a character as well.
I do feel like I definitely had an evolving point going through this this campaign and stuff. It's very much a learning experience for me.
Because
even compared to the first one, where it was mostly by the book, even though you were adding stuff to it, and in the beginning of
the
this
magic
one,
items. The personal magic items.
It was different compared to the first one.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, it's definitely for me and Reggie, who've been there at the beginning, and then just kind of seeing Kenny grow as a DM and go from those that first
Getting
game
into the rhythm, more comfortable.
Because for me, for modules, it's I find myself some of the stories are pretty okay, some of them could be interesting, but it's just does need that DM flair. But what
a lot
caught
of the
me,
modules, they give you a backbone, and that's just about it. It's just the backbone of it.
And then this one is the bare backbone of just there's not much meat to it. The NPCs can be really boring and doesn't necessarily give much to the DM to explore and say this character is thinking this way. It's just no, it's just mostly quest giver, or hey, you might need this person to get into door.
Yeah, like that one guy, he didn't even have a face, and he was semi-important for a bit.
He was just a name character until that was in charge of the gold.
That's kind of there's a reason why I just kind of ditched all the NPCs at the start of Abyss, because they just really did not go into details on who these people even are.
Yeah. What I do enjoy about this, even though it gave you that bare bones, I think no matter what type of campaign you want to play, if you want it all, combat, if you want it all, a mix between RP and combat, or if you want to, let's say, Saevel wanted to be straight political, I object, Ace. Like you could have played that out in the council meetings, if that's what you guys wanted to do. So I think it does a good job of setting up some
It's
things.
setting
But
it
yeah,
up,
like
yeah.
I'm saying, that DM player, whatever it is,
Like
you
what
definitely
the
want
DM wants to explore and stuff like that. No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it definitely gives the opportunities for it, but I guess it's definitely not a new DM friendly campaign. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if we gave this to Kenny now, and like what he did with the keep, and like the second half, and then what he's doing for Abyss, I think it would have been like the story would have been more interesting, and more like, instead of us kind of like, okay, we're kind of given quests, and this kind of aligns with me and Fletch's backstory. That's why we're kind of following along. Like, we'll get kill so and so, but it's because not because you want us to. It's because we fucking hate this guy, and he's on our personal list. So that's where it's like, for me, it was like, yeah, I really enjoyed the player character stories more than the actual story, but at the same time, like, my favorite part is just literally the inside jokes, or like the stuff that grew from like us making just having dumb fun, of like IB blasting Penumbra's like love for apples and stealing apples, Fletch in the list, and also just after the relationship, just fucking flirting it up with Penumbra. Just like all those fucking moments, and just like just creating those inside jokes that us as friends kind of like kept on using throughout this whole entire campaign and even future campaigns. So, but yeah, and then I guess for you, Kenny, like did you enjoy like anything specific, or either like story wise, you running an NPC, a favorite moment from us?
Yeah, even things that you enjoyed about each character as well.
Yeah, like what, like yeah.
I was gonna say I had a lot of fun with the Fletch and Penumbra's romance and stuff, kind of funny parts, and then as far as like actually running it and stuff, it's like, even though I'm the DM and kind of telling the story, D&D is all about the players. So it's
yeah, as long as everyone's having fun.
It's the next step, not even just the players, because I don't want people excluding a DM.
No,
like
exactly.
I feel like everyone, like, should come together and try to create, a good story all together. And I mean, that can't, be done without, the DM.
No, yeah.
The backbone.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you're just playing a lot more characters than everyone else is.
Did you have fun, Kenny?
Yeah, I did. I think the first half was a little less than the second half, is what I'm kind of getting at. Is like, I think, like how I was saying, I had to kind of build up into it. I think I got better as it went on.
No, yeah.
So when I left, I see.
Plus, me and James are like a million times better.
Yeah, it was us.
Right,
Here's the new guys. It was me. And then, speaking of which, what did you guys think of, for those two who joined in the second half, of like listening to like our characters' beginnings, and like how we developed as characters, and to where you guys would meet later on? Like, what do you guys think of the story?
That would have changed your thoughts of
on the characters. Yeah.
Change thought. What do you mean by change thoughts on the characters? Oh, I see.
Can you see where Fletch is coming from now?
Yeah, especially go ahead, Zane.
Well, I was gonna say I didn't realize that what's her face was so integral to y'all's backstories. Yeah.
Well, integral to my backstory. Fletch cared through Penumbra, basically. It's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, to even give you a heads up, like, I think even when we first met them, everyone left the room, and like Fletch stayed back behind, was like, if you fuck with her, I'm killing you.
No,
and
yeah.
Then, like,
Yeah, no, yeah. it's not like Fletch had love for her. It was just like, yeah, it was still. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's like I don't know if it was like this for you, Evan. It's like this like she showed up and I'm like
Who's this
I
bitch?
messaged Kenny in text chat. I'm like, am I supposed to know who this is? And Kenny was like,
Right.
oh yeah, she's like this big figurehead in the in the
cult.
cultist. Like she's a big head, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Why is she
They're
here?
being friendly to
Yeah.
You guys were talking a little bit about it out of game, but obviously without that context, I didn't see how deep it went. Just, you know, she showed us like, oh, you know, you introduce her in game as like she's our inside source. Like, okay. Also, she's trying to bring back teammate. I'm sorry, what? You know?
Yeah.
and she's on our side, you say?
And that's kind of where the like quick thinking on Kenny's part of just like, okay, this is how I'm gonna make her a good guy, but also it's not necessarily making her a full good guy because yeah, she's trying to bring a death god into the world. But I mean, that's kind of like what we were, you know, like that's what Penumbra was like. Okay, she's trying to do it in the good way. Granted, like Penumbra says, like this is kind of wishful thinking, and she's not going to like fully succeed. And if she does go down a thing, it will be like up to Penumbra to fix it.
Let's be honest. None of the cultists were actually gonna succeed at what they really wanted.
Yeah. So it's just like okay, it's like if she does go down a wrong path again, it will be my issue to fix. And if you want to help with that, then you can definitely do that. But until she proves that she's going down a wrong path, she's my best friend, and you're not fucking with her. But that also just made that situation just 10 times more interesting. But but yeah, like that definitely was just like if only these guys were here to like see that, or also like again into like for the second part is like given more RP moments for our characters to get to know each other, which we could talk about in part 2. That doesn't necessarily like happen too much to where like, you know, you got to know Penumbra or like know why Talus was such an important person to her. Personally, like eat through the characters, and like I told you as players, but you know, in character, they probably still didn't necessarily know until like maybe there was just talk in the side that wasn't actually in the sessions, or you know, like the characters probably talked about it some random time, who knows. But yeah.
Which is one good thing about the Abyss now is you guys are becoming more of like an actual working group.
It's got a very different dynamic to it.
Because it's for that, it's just like one of those things. It's like the group that is currently like here and that like that is an Abyss is we all have like the same kind of want from the game, where it's just like we all have a love for roleplay, a love for combat, and you know, like, you know, doing that type of stuff. Whereas like the original group was kind of like there was a couple of us that were role playing, there was a couple of us that were quiet, and there was a couple of us that were just like, I just want to kill shit. So it was just like that separation. Granted, the campaign kind of I believe delivered on all fronts. But it was still that like divide, whereas us as a group now are kind of all in the same boat. No pun intended for Abyss, but I keep on doing that. But
that's a boat.
Oh my! The ship with the harpoon gun, but
small again.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's just like that's my thought on, you know, like on the current thing, and like finding that balance of this group, and finding, I think in Abyss we found that like really good balance. But yeah, is there any other like moments or like questions that you and Evan, or Zane and Evan want to know, or like ask, or thought was funny or interesting that you guys didn't know?
How did it feel when this this tiny little turtle almost, killed the entire party.
At the end of the fucking part 2 is
Right.
fireball. Fucking 9th level fireball to the group's face or some shit.
Oh my god.
I was nice and just did Eldritch Blast.
Yeah,
but...
I know. Yeah, we were just dodging Eldritch Blast, but I guess that's another thing is like finding it, like hearing about Hanu, and now hearing like him being part of the story, or what he was to the story.
Yeah, because I don't know how it felt for you, Zane, but like when I first saw Hanu, it was at the very end, and I pictured him as a giant portal because I've only seen people do portals before. So,
That's how
Right.
Penumbra and Fletch portrayed him.
yeah.
After he found the staff, maybe
he got
he
some
just
gains.
seemed bigger.
He just
Years
got
of backbone.
he got beefy.
Yeah, he had a training montage off screen.
Yep.
That's what his confidence made him look like. It made him look huge.
He was
But he was
actually
just 4
hunched,
feet.
he was hunched over the entire time with bad posture. Yeah. Yeah, having all those little pieces fit into place, it was kind of cool to see how that played out and see how the beginnings you came from and how you got to where you were.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, but yep, definitely where like all the backstories and stuff like that, and the fucking journey, why Fletch is, and also the original origin of why she was calling you guys, recruits and stuff.
Right.
mhm.
It wasn't
No, yeah.
anything personal to you.
I didn't realize the hazing in the backstory.
Man, I was like, I'm glad I picked you, Zane, or asked you to join, because I don't think I know anyone else that would have been in the roleplay mindset of like, okay, he's just fucking with me. Like, he's just fucking with me in character. Because if it was anybody else and they're like being hazed like that, I'm like, they would probably be like, man, this guy is out to get us. What the fuck? I don't know if this man's role playing or not.
Yeah, and Evan, I know, and
Yeah,
friends
yeah.
with Evan in real life and stuff like that.
I was just looking at Zane and like, are you okay with this? Like, I'm sorry. This is, he doesn't mean it. It's in character. Please don't leave.
I meant it. I meant it all.
No, it's fun. It was all good fun. Not gonna lie though, it got to me a few times.
No, there was moments I was like, this isn't Saevel, this is Zane.
I could tell, like, it was like later on when like Fletch stole his like undergarment. He's like, "DM, please."
Stop it.
No, that was actually Zane begging.
That was Zane, yeah.
Right.
And the DM's like, continue.
Yes, dance.
My God.
Oh yeah, that actually was shown already on.
Oh, on the YouTubes.
Yeah, because wasn't that?
It was on our way to the labyrinth. Yeah, so that is out on YouTube now. It was the whole underwear situation.
Iconic.
Yep.
Oh
Yeah, so
man.
we could catch the Renford season when he had his spell focus taken and put on a tree.
So unfortunately, like one reason why we're having this is because some of these things, like especially this first part of the whole Tyranny of Dragons, is unfortunately not recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first arc or the first chapter of the next, so Finding Frost and meeting you guys for the first time, was also unfortunately not recorded. Where we started was like when we went into the temple thing that tried to kill Fletch, like constant, like the booby traps. That was like from the beginning of that thing, and like you guys meeting Talus was when the recording.
That's a pretty good start.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was a pretty good start. So like, but yeah, unfortunately, like before that, like everything before that is unfortunately unrecorded, and it's just stories that we share.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of like one reason why I definitely wanted to do this and just like tell these stories and like catch people up and
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Luckily, I still have most of the maps for the second half.
Yeah.
There you go.
So we can probably go map through map on that one and just like what happened in this room, or what did we miss in this room, and
To speak about it, so I want to say, like, I always, wanted to do the good boy and stuff.
Like for
because-
Frost, he's down here on this map.
yeah.
One of the things for me, because I always still want to do good boy, but specifically it is specifically for you, Zane. I was like, okay, I got on him so much, and I got on Evan's character quite a bit. I was like, I'm making a good boy.
I'm gonna make the nicest guy that's not gonna bully anybody. That's not gonna
And Zane did something similar. He had made the nicest person after like the most bullying, and then Zane made like the dumbest guy after being the smartest guy.
I mean, go ahead, Zane.
So like, you know how I got Coop's name?
What was it?
So Saevel likes books, right?
Oh no!
Damn it! I said
now he's
Replace the O's with U's and reverse
Put it reversed it. It's book. It's a book backwards. Oh my fucking god! And it
That's
comes
beautiful.
full circle.
Oh man,
Oh man.
Fucking hell! It's
I love that so much.
What is the next character going to be? Edgar or something?
It just beautiful. He goes back and forth each time.
a decently smart dude that just eats glue.
Middle of the road.
It's funny, like, I guess talking about that, like, because
There you go.
yeah, Rage.
Just rage back.
yeah. Edgar.
Things like
There you go.
But like, it's funny because like Zane was technically like my first DM, and then finally like the player for Ilmeg found Kenny, and then joined him, and then basically like for my characters, like I kind of go to the opposite stuff of like in Zane's campaign, my character for his campaign is a sorcerer or a half dragon sorcerer that does all the talking. It's like all the face of the group, all the talking. So when I'm going into Tyranny of Dragon, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make a mute character that doesn't have to talk because fuck that. I don't want to be in two campaigns where I'm like the face of two campaigns. So I'm like, I am doing the exact opposite and doing that. And then for Abyss, going from like the sneakiest character, like the dodge tank, or just like range character as well, to the fucking up close tank, unstealthiest adorable little tiefling you could think of.
Dang, he's saying y'all not even adorable. How does that feel?
Damn.
Right? How does that feel, Evan?
It's more of a mature beauty. She's the small one. I'm the the tall.
You're the smartest tiefling, and then Very is
Wait,
the
your character's tall.
Well, she's. She's real not as tall as the other people. But
well, not as tall as the two tallest fucking beings in existence. But
I deliberately, she's taller for a woman and taller for a tiefling. She's like 5'10".
Yeah, and Vary's like 2 feet something.
Your flip, you go shorter than 4 feet.
What the fuck? That would be amazing.
Turns into a house cat.
Yeah.
How tall is Very? I've only ever thought that.
Huh?
I kind of assumed that Brimstone was like shorter, but I don't think I've ever confirmed the heights of the other tieflings.
I would have to check because Brimstone's pretty short. She's like 5'4".
I want to say Brimstone, Segray, and then Very.
Mm-hmm.
Vary's like 5'9", 5'10".
So
we're about the
you
same,
guys are like the same height.
Yeah.
It depends if she just woke up or not.
Brimstone's the toughest tiefling. Segray's the smartest, and then Vary's the fastest.
I'm thinking like the Powerpuff Girls now.
I know. I'm Bubbles.
Yeah, but you're Bubbles.
Bubbles. You can't change my mind.
Yeah. The colors are longer than that.
Is Very Blossom or Buttercup?
Buttercup. Just Angie. Or can get Angie.
Right.
And then Blossom is just Seagray just fucking
I see it now.
Zhao is Mojo Jojo.
Oh my god.
But
Technically family.
but before we end this, are there any final thoughts? Anyone want to say anything before we call it a night?
Roll on that 20. Just do it.
Just if it's story, that's why you make a backstory and tie it to the main story, because
I got 15.
when those stories happen, you just roll those nat 20s like a beast.
Yeah, plot armor.
Yeah.
Plot armor. The dice love to tell a story, especially if you have it tied to the main story. That's the real reason to make a fucking a story tied.
Yeah. That's, I guess, the main.
There it is.
Oh, there we go. Damn, that's a lot.
What's a lot?
As far as like one thing I did learn between like here the dragons and this other one was like I didn't really dive into tying Renford to the plot, mainly because he was a pre-existing character. Segre was made for the Abyss based off the prompt, and now I can tell that's making it a lot easier to sort of like synthesize, for lack of a better word, with the whole thing.
That's fair. But yeah. Anyone else? Closing statements?
Just interesting to see where y'all came from.
Yeah.
Finally knowing where it all began and where it all ended for Saevel. Where did this little shit fucking elf come from?
I'm sorry. I hate when people will is like, "Well, my character will do it," and it's like, and I was feeling bad. I'm like, "But she would.
She would do it."
So.
It's funny because like in a way that was like keeping them from talking to Penumbra because they had to go through this little attack dog that was known as Fletch. That was like, and then immediately you look at it, like, your first mention to them is like, "I'm so and so. You better get used to fucking stealing and murder, and also don't touch her." That's mine. Lick. Claimed.
Paladin never recovered.
The Paladin never recovered. I told you I have to get to school with some stuff really
Some shit
fast.
going, yeah. Well, I guess.
Told me ahead of time.
I guess now you know where that shit was coming from. Of like all the shit we pulled.
It makes sense now.
Yeah.
He was like, "Don't worry, I'm not like other paladins." He was like, "Other paladins."
Fucking. We'll talk about that relationship next part because
We'll
that is something I want to get from Evan's point of view of Renford and Fletch's relationship.
Die.
The love-hate, but mostly hate, and no love whatsoever.
Yeah.
Relationship.
I like when you were like, mom and dad are fighting again.
Yeah.
But
Throw up.
Kenny, do you have any final things as the DM?
Why you always gotta point to me?
Okay. Let me put it this way. Do you
Sorry, God.
for anybody watching this who is obviously like not wanting to be a part of the story but probably wanting to DM this, do you have any advice for those new DMs running this module?
Don't always let the dice decide what's going to happen, and don't just go straight off the book. Part of being a DM, I've really figured out and learned, is go ahead and make shit up. And for random encounters, if you rely on just the dice, sometimes those encounters just will not happen. Because I've rolled like 12 different times trying to get above a 17, and it'd always be like 10, 4, 8, 3.
We make it to our destination, 0 issues, 0 problems. Like, that was easy.
Right.
Nothing happened. Yeah, as a DM, if you don't feel like anything, like if you feel like something should happen in the moment, make things happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like also don't be afraid to make your own homebrew like encounters, or like if you think a character has a story thing that like encounter can happen here that would involve it, or even if you see like one of the other encounters and say like I can make this more interesting, or I can do something with this, or
I do feel like I wish I had some of my ideas that I have now then.
I mean, we can always go back for an alternate universe, you know.
Yeah, a perfect playthrough, guys.
A what if episode.
The what if, yeah. What if
Renford like fucks up with the timepiece and the sands like set everything over.
fucking yeah.
You guys go back to the labyrinth and finally figure out how those hourglasses work.
We go back in time before they're broken and
Laser raptors.
God damn it.
I love that movie. I love that movie.
We literally just watched it. Or Anthony showed it to me fucking it was a couple days ago.
David had.
I do have a few things when we do end, so I'll wait for that.
No, go for it now.
I was gonna say for Zane, I don't know if you've logged into Abyss, but I put the person playing the harp, and you might recognize her.
Oh boy.
Oh, cool.
Log into Abyss real quick.
Uh-oh.
Oh my
It's dumb. I'm
god.
gonna scream.
If it's what?
He said if it's dub.
Don't worry, guys. I've been continuously giving him crap over that as I come back. I actually didn't tell you, Zane. For the two players in here that are in the in between, they actually met Dove. Or maybe
Yeah,
I
you
did
told
tell
me
you.
that,
I
yeah.
did tell you.
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
Yeah.
What happened?
She'll not even stronger.
Yeah. The reason why she left.
Damn.
Well, that's going to be a funny thing to explore in part 2.
Oh, yeah.
Right, Zane?
Yep.
I'm sorry, but not sorry at the same time.
But do you recognize her, Zane?
Yep. Yes, I do.
Cool. Well, watch Abyss whenever that shit comes out. But yeah, thanks Kenny for DMing this shit. Thanks guys for joining me for tonight, and thanks for everyone who's watching. And yeah, I'm glad this shit happened, and I'm glad I met all of you.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be safe for part 2. Don't start
Aw.
that cheesy shit now.
I know. That's when
This
that's
happy
when we
moment
leave.
requires you to slam that subscribe button.
Oh my god.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah.
I've been looking at the video.
Me. That's where I leave.
Right. Now today's sponsor is Raid Shadow Legends.
The end.